Welcome to SicEm365 Radio.
Do you know Dave Aranda? He said, yeah, we have the same agent. I said, okay, cool. He's like, why? I said, well, they just had a receiver coach spot open up. And, before I can get out of my mouth just being him, he said, you want me to call him?
SicEm365 Radio is presented by IdealMRI.com. High-quality MRIs for $497 or less. IdealMRI.com. Your health is important, so is your budget.
Williams in motion, play action for Daniels. Backside pressure. Down he goes, back at the 39. The Bears got there.
The 3 o'clock hour is sponsored by Waco Custom Marketplace. Meats, sweets, Texas treats, and a cut above the rest. 425 Lake Air Drive, Waco.
Here is Howard, and it is intercepted. J.T. Woods rips it off for Baylor. Inside the 10 and a first and goal for the Bears on our first turnover.
Now here's David Smoak, Paul Catalina, and Craig Smoak.
All right, here we go on this Wednesday afternoon, midweek inauguration day, but also a day when yet another possible Hall of Fame quarterback announces his retirement. Drew Brees has not done that yet. Phillip Rivers did, 17 years in the league. And a great quote from J.J. Watt that he remembers about Phillip Rivers. Maurice Linguist, he's on his way to Michigan, right, Paul? I don't know if that's official yet. Craig, you sent me that note. That came down late yesterday evening to be the co-defensive coordinator. He's been a part of the Cowboys staff, played at Baylor. I think it was 03 through 06 as a safety, and now he goes to Michigan to help them try to fix their defense.
Yeah, that was something I saw after we talked to David Hellman, but a Baylor alum and was on the Cowboys staff. We didn't really cross paths with him much. Perhaps if Paul was regularly going to games like normal, then Mo Linguist would have been somebody that, would have made sense to interview. But, we just didn't have that kind of access. And being an assistant coach, he's not really on the top of the totem pole as far as interview requests go. But that is a Baylor guy to keep track of. And, yeah, he's on his way to try and help Jim Harbaugh save his job, quite frankly.
Yeah, I might have crossed paths with him last year if we had a normal
training
Cowboys
camp
season, but we did not.
Well, if it would have been during training camp, we'd have had a chance to visit with him because the coaches are all available, and we were there, but it was different. It was a little bit different, not quite, but he's on his way to Michigan, and he'll become, when everything is solidified and official, the co-defensive coordinator for Jim Harbaugh. Now, Mack Rhoades today at 3:30, normally with us on Tuesdays at 4:20. He'll join us. King McClure will be on Zoom, former Baylor guard. He'll join us at 4. Brady Christensen. This is all about you. Sometimes you just fall into something. So I saw Eric Mateos tweet something about a coaching, an offensive line type coach up in the Dallas and Fort Worth area. And who's the big offensive lineman from Tennessee who's so good? That's also a high prospect. I can't think of his name right now. But he was tweeting about Brady Christensen. Is at this coach, I guess you could say, combine prep up in Dallas. And so I looked at Brady Christensen's text or tweet, and I said, I'm going to follow him. He's an All-American, consensus All-American, played under Jeff Grimes, the offensive coordinator, and Mateos as 2 years as an offensive line coach, and 1 year with Kyle Pugh was the coach at Brigham Young as well, and he had high regards for him. So I followed him. He follows me back. I then send him a message. Hey, we got Mateos. He we did an interview earlier today. We're going to have that. Brady Christensen, the consensus All-American at Brigham Young. He'll join us today at 4:20. I was very surprised he was able to react that fast. John McClain today on where are they with Houston and their coaching search. And yesterday, a very interesting virtual day in presenting the Hall of Fame finalists, including Drew Pearson and company. John Machota and Eric Mateos will join us today at around 5:30. Texas Tech transfer Chrislyn Carr will join us tomorrow in the first hour. She, of course, now a part of the Baylor women's basketball team. They played tonight. So, Eric Mateos likes snakes.
Yeah, that's something.
It doesn't leave my life. It doesn't,
Does it bother you that human beings keep those as pets?
Well, it's interesting because one of the names of his snakes is Monty Python. So you can know where that's going. But he had to give him up, and we'll talk with him about that at 5:30 today. Also, the Phillip Rivers retirement. I'm not sure if you guys saw this or not, and there's notes about Patrick Mahomes. But J.J. Watt put up on Twitter, I'll never forget lining up for a play against Phil, and Phil pointing to one of our linebackers and telling him he was lined up wrong based off the blitz we were about to run, and about 100% of the time he was correct. One of the smartest I've ever played against, and a hell of a competitor.
That's hilarious.
Yeah, that's funny that he did so much research that he knew what was coming and actually could correct the defense and help them out a little bit. No, Phillip Rivers is an incredibly smart guy and probably never really appreciated fully, over his career just because he was never in the limelight of Super Bowls and things like that. And he was also surrounded by, a bunch of generational quarterbacks that were all just another level better than him. Guys like Aaron Rodgers and Drew Brees and so on and so forth, Brady. So I feel like he's always been respected and been considered one of the best players in the league or best quarterbacks, but never really given that extra level of love just because he's not quite hit that level. But super steady, really good. Good family man, obviously. That's a big part of his story. And, it just, he's been around a long time now, so it kind of makes sense for him to go ahead and call it a career with this latest run in Indianapolis.
So you might have Breeze and then Rivers. Paul, I'll never forget a Phillip Rivers story. And, yes, we're going to talk quite a bit about Baylor, men's basketball, football, and much more. Women play tonight at 6:30 against Oklahoma State, try to bounce back. I was on my way up to Dallas because Baylor was in a bowl game up there. It was not the Cotton Bowl. Was it a Baylor? It was against TCU. They were about to play TCU. It was during Thanksgiving week, and San Diego was in town to play Dallas. Mm-hmm. And I was driving from Tyler to Dallas, and I think, were at the game. And Phillip Rivers just riddled the Cowboys in that game.
I would say he ripped them a new you-know-what in that game.
Earhole.
Bad. It was awful for the Cowboys, and that was one of those games where, because the Chargers were good, but they weren't great, and the Cowboys, sometimes I think the Cowboys fans, and they think it's just the Chargers coming in on Thanksgiving. No, Phillip Rivers ripped them apart.
There's not many times in 25 years, really, that they've ever been able to just say anymore that, it's just whoever. I mean, that's who they are. They're just the Cowboys.
If you wonder what he's going to do in retirement, he has 9 children. Yeah, so he'll be able to contribute a little bit more at home.
Does that mean he has enough money for them? And I'm not getting, or does he have more time to have more? I don't know. 9's, that's.
Yeah, he also, one of the reasons he's so good in film is when he watched a lot anyway, but when the Chargers moved from San Diego to L.A., he still stayed and lived in San Diego. Commuted, so he had a driver, and he had like a bus. Okay. And so during that, however long it must be in the car up I-5 to get, the 5 to get to L.A. to the facility, he would just watch film and break it down even longer.
Yeah. By the way, Rob Solent is in studio with us. He is a Baylor football player. There he is. Rob, you got all diced up for this show today, and Rob, of course, a part of Baylor football from, is it New Jersey, or it's from New Jersey, right? Yeah, and he's here in studio as one of our interns with Armstrong Sims. You notice how Armstrong has that camera, so be careful what you do there because we'll have you on camera. Good to have you on the show.
I'm glad we finally have somebody that can physically intimidate Armstrong.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, he's been kind of bullying up on guys, so now that's going to come to a stop.
I mean, Jack's a little bit bigger than Armstrong, but I'm not confident in his lifting program as where I know that Rob has to show up or he gets in trouble.
Can you give that to him for? I'm not allowed. We're allowed to talk to you. I don't know if we're allowed. I don't think so. I don't think we can. Can you say? Just lean over and say hi though. Everyone can. You can hear his voice and stuff like that.
How you doing, man?
Well, there you go.
Hey, how you doing?
You're good. Sound like an offensive lineman. How you doing? All right, so Rob Solon's in studio with us as intern. Andy Reid said Patrick Mahomes has taken all the snaps, and he feels good, but yet he still remains in concussion protocol. That means he's going to play, right?
He's playing. It's not even a question about whether or not he's playing. Forget what Andy Reid says or a little dancing around he does. Patrick Mahomes is playing this weekend. It's not even a question. It's not in doubt. It's not going to happen. Patrick Mahomes is playing this weekend.
254-339-1122. The line is open. Your thoughts about Baylor. But you've now been able to hear from tonight, Eric Mateos at 5:30. You've heard from Chancey Stuckey. You've heard from Jeff Grimes. Tomorrow, you're going to hear from Dave Aranda. Among others, your thoughts of what you've heard and what excites you or still questions you may have. 254-339-1122, the number to call. Dan Campbell, former Cowboys player, played with the Giants and elsewhere, is the new head coach. That was yesterday, kind of late, but now a 6-year deal with the Lions.
He's a Central Texan. He was born in Clifton. Yep. He played high school ball at Glen Rose. He played at A&M for his college ball, and then he's very much a Parcells, Sean Payton type disciple. He's kind of run through those guys. Of course, played for Parcells for a little bit, and then has been with Sean Payton a while.
I saw a question somebody put up when Breeze and the Saints lost on Sunday. Who failed who? Payton and Breeze won a Super Bowl, but it's hard to win them. Rivers never played in one. He was in an AFC Championship game one year, lost to Brady in New England. It's hard to get there. We know Marino never won a Super Bowl. Some great names have never won a Super Bowl. Peyton and Breeze did win the one in 2000. Was it 9? Yeah. But did one of those? Did they not get the most out of that, or is it just because Brady makes things look too easy?
I mean, it's hard. Aaron Rodgers has only won one.
Favre won one.
Yeah, Favre.
And if you think about it, most of the great ones, Brady's is an exception. Montana, a couple of others. Bradshaw won 4, but those are the complete exception.
Elway played in 4 and won the last 2.
Right.
And one of those over Favre, which everyone thought Favre was going to walk away with. So,
the helicopter.
Part of that is sometimes the reason that you haven't won more Super Bowls is because one of those other guys has won one. Look, Peyton Manning didn't win one because of Drew Brees. So, and he had a couple, but it's hard.
Yeah. I know.
Yeah, I guess you'd have to point me to the years where they should have won it, over a Patriots team or over
the Stephon Diggs catch with Minnesota. That was probably one. Was that 2 years ago?
Yeah, but that also wasn't in the Super Bowl. So, that doesn't guarantee that they go on and win that thing either. So, there's a lot of guys, as you mentioned, that don't have a ring, never got to a Super Bowl. Breeze got to one, won one. You'd like to have 2, 3, 4, 5 for as long as he played. But again, whose rings are he taking? Is he taking Brady's rings? Because I doubt that would really have happened that way.
Only Eli's allowed to do that.
Yeah, basically. So,
and Nick Foles.
Eli blocked him out of a couple of Super Bowls. The Eagles one year. Other teams had to get there too. But no, the Saints can probably look back and say maybe we should have won 2 rather than 1, but they weren't set up to be a dynasty. They can, though, look back and say we probably could have done a little bit more, but that's the thing is if you...
They got hammered, too, Craig and Paul, by that bounty gate, right? That set them back a little bit,
Yeah,
right?
that set them back, but, that's also, at this point, a long time ago. That's... God, what was that, 10 years ago?
Well, but it did affect part of that early time when he was with the Saints. So
right, but that was 10 years ago or whenever. They've had more than enough time to rebound from that, and he's had more than enough prime years to still play well, and they've been in games in positions to get to a Super Bowl. So, that might have wiped out, a few years where they were having to lick their wounds a little bit, but for the most part, it's all been normal the last few, and, again, they just have other teams who have been better along the way, but, I just say for Drew Brees that not only was this year on the field not ideal, and certainly that last game he played in wasn't ideal. Not all of those picks were on him, but, part of it was. But, then had the whole dust up with the anthem and his comments that got just torn apart right away.
Of course.
And Well, I mean, they were kind of tone deaf in a way, what he said at the time. I mean, that's the thing. They kind of deserved of some criticism, probably not the extremes that some went to, but those are just hateful-ass people, so they're going to do that regardless. But he did take some heat for that, and I just feel like this whole year, that sort of started off on the wrong tone, and then just the way the season worked out, I hate that this could be the way that it ended, because just overall, I felt like it was a pretty bad year.
Yeah, he reminds me with New Orleans in a way how it ended, the way it ended for Charlie Brewer at Baylor. I know that Breeze is a Hall of Famer, Charlie's not, but you know what I mean? It kind of like, you're like,
yeah, but it's like it's time. It's time to be over.
Yeah, and he played this year with those. He played 11 broken ribs.
Super hurt.
He played with a torn rotator cuff all year long, which explains a lot of times you're like, well, that didn't look. That didn't look Drew Brees like, you know.
It's tough. His career, but Phillip Rivers and Brees will be on the same ballot, it looks like, as far as the Hall of Fame in 5 years. So what's the most watched NFL game every year?
No idea.
The Super Bowl.
The Super Bowl.
Oh, well, yeah.
The game between Brees, Saints, Brady, and the Bucs drew 36,400,000 plus. Streaming, digital programs, and across television. That's what counts. It's the most watched telecast of any kind since the Super Bowl and the most watched NFL games of this impact at the 2020 season.
Yeah, it doubled up the national championship game because they only had 18, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So double them up. And, yeah, not surprising.
Well, the NFL is much more powerful, even if it's a national championship.
More powerful is also way more interesting. The national championship game had the sizzle of, like
old bacon.
Yeah, I mean, basically, it was just not that interesting. I mean, I watched and I was intent on, hoping for great games and all that, and we got that in the NFL, and we didn't so much get that in the college football playoff. We got 2 blowouts, and then we got a third blowout in the finals. So there just wasn't the intrigue, and it's not as big of a sport to begin with, so it's always going to be a little bit behind. But I just feel like this year with college football, it was so out of whack and just sort of strange that, by the time the national championship game rolled around, people were excited, but I think a lot of people were kind of like, all right, let's get this over with.
Relieved, yeah. You know how I know it's a bad game? If I'm sitting there going, would you please end this so I can go to bed? Because I don't want to miss something of importance. Like
I think I lost interest after what's-his-name got hurt, the Heisman Trophy.
Yeah, but say I went to bed in the fourth quarter knowing what was going to happen, and then Justin Fields got hurt, and I would feel like I missed it.
Yeah.
I'd be like, oh, well, that was dumb. I should have stayed up.
But Sermon getting hurt early on just totally kind of took the air out of that game because you're like, oh, well, there's Ohio State's best player. He's already down, and yeah, it was not that entertaining.
Baylor's women's game against Kansas, which was scheduled for Wednesday, February 3rd, has been moved back one day to February the 4th. They play at Oklahoma State tonight. George Springer, think about in Houston. You've lost, and a lot of people say good riddance with James Harden. You now are going to lose. You've lost George Springer to Toronto, but 6 years, $150 million. I know this sounds crazy when I say that. That's not a lot of money in today's baseball, is it?
Well, no, I mean, let's see. Considering what Mookie Betts...
$25 million a year. That doesn't seem to be, out of whack for a team.
Wouldn't you consider his, the guys in his realm of, or that he's comparable to would be, it's like Trout.
He's not Mookie Betts.
But he's right there. It's after those guys, then it's him.
3?
I mean, he's probably
levels.
That level. He's on that next level. So, but that's a pretty steep drop between those two. But that Blue Jays lineup looks like it's gonna be pretty salty. We'll just see how it goes.
Houston's losing a lot of stars, and they've done it very quickly. Obviously, even some pitchers have left there, and we'll see what happens with that.
That's huge news that George Springer's leaving Houston. I mean, that's giant news that he's out of the Astros organization. I mean, clearly one of their better players. Big part of their World Series, one of the best players, young players in the entire game of baseball. I mean, no, he might not be Mookie Betts or Mike Trout, but there's not too many names in between the two, as Paul was referring to.
I think it was kind of everyone kind of thought, in fact, that he was going to be gone, that they would not bring him back. But I think sometimes he was the most valuable guy. Now, Altuve and Correa, among others, but I thought Springer was the one that was the straw that I've used that before.
He was hitting 500 in the playoffs for a little while. Now, we kind of know why, but he's still got to do it.
Yeah.
You still got to hit those pitches.
254-339-1122. Go ahead.
No, he was very instrumental. He's a very good player. Kind of surprised there's not more money yearly, but I don't know how many people pegged Toronto as his landing spot. Everybody wants to talk about Dodgers and Yankees and Red Sox and all these same teams every single baseball offseason, and it was the Toronto Blue Jays. Now, some breaking news is there's some thoughts that Michael Brantley might leave Houston and join him, but Michael Brantley's apparently re-signed a 2-year deal with Houston in the last few minutes. There was a lot of smoke that he was going to join Springer, but it turns out Brantley will stay in Houston, 2 years, $32 million. So Astros fans do have something to celebrate. That's good news for them. Had they lost Brantley as well, that would have been a double whammy, to be sure. But regardless, Springer being gone, that totally changes the dynamic. You still have Correa and Altuve for the foreseeable future. I don't know. I wouldn't be surprised to see Correa out of there in a couple of years, or Altuve for that matter. I'm sure they'll hang on to at least one of them. But Springer being gone, that's a huge loss.
So they lose Springer, and they lose trash cans, right?
Yeah. They do, yes.
That's 2 huge free agents in the last 12 months that the Astros have lost. 254-339-1122.
All right, Steven in Virginia. You're on the Impact Health Labs caller line on SicEm365 Radio. Good afternoon.
Hey, guys, I got 2 things for you. I'm so excited y'all are talking baseball. But I want to challenge Smokey. Smokey said that Charlie Brewer isn't a Hall of Famer. And I got to be honest with you, when it's time, Charlie Brewer should have a place in the Baylor Athletics Hall of Fame, just like a lot of other people who made significant contributions to this program from 2016 to 2019. I'm a strong believer. There's a place in there for Jim Grove, too. But on the baseball front, I might have to decommit from Paul Catalina's Army after realizing that he's a Boston Red Sox fan. I have deep-seated resent from 2004 that I haven't let go of. So, Jimmy Fallon made millions off that stupid movie, so I'm still upset about it. But I'm really happy to see Michael Brantley get a 2-year deal. He essentially got a 2-year qualifying deal because if you think about it, qualifying offer is $17 million, and he got 2 years, $32. So I'm really excited that he got the financial security he did. This Toronto stuff with George Springer, I really think that's because they're the only ones who want to pay anything. If we're sitting here in baseball, we're looking at multiple off seasons where nothing has happened until somebody who's betting against themselves ends up paying what is necessary. And, I got to be honest, I think Toronto's looking at George Springer, saying he might be a piece, but I don't think the rest of the league is looking at George Springer that way, and they're probably betting against themselves. So take it easy. I'll listen.
Stephen, by the way, I want to follow up on what you mentioned about Charlie Brewer. It's not Hall of Fame, Baylor Hall of Fame. I'm talking Phillip Rivers in the Pro Football Hall of Fame. I'm sorry, I just went blank. Breeze is going to be in a Pro Football Hall of Fame. Charlie Brewer, I'm sure, will be honored down the road, you would think, by Baylor in some way with what Walter Abercrombie does in the Letterman's Association. But I'm talking like at College Football Hall of Fame, Charlie Brewer, as much as I liked him, and everyone knows that, will not be a part of that discussion, but we appreciate the call.
Also, Fever Pitch is an excellent movie. I'll cry harder in Fever Pitch than I do in Old Yeller.
I watched 10 minutes and I had to stop.
Also,
Fever Pitch?
I need to say, if he's leaving Paul Catalina's Army, there's plenty of room in Armstrong's Army. I just got to throw that out there.
Yeah, Armstrong. I had Armstrong Sims. It is straight up. Is that what your Twitter handle is?
No.
All right, so Mack Rhoades is going to join us today, Baylor Director of Athletics. He was spending most of the day yesterday. What they would normally do on Monday, he was doing on Tuesday. We have some questions about him. And, I'm going to ask him about what he thought of, and has there been anything else in discussion involving Kim Mulkey and her comments following the loss to Iowa State. And we were going to discuss that Monday. We didn't have time. I do think she could have phrased it much better, but I think in the end what she really meant, and we've talked about this, is let her coach her kids. It's not that she wants to quit playing. Absolutely not what she wants, but let her clarify that when that time comes. And I'm sure that some of you, there's this automatic, she's very polarizing. And even among Baylor fans about what she says. Forget about just what the national media says. But Gino Auriemma can say the same thing as Kim Mulkey, the exact same thing as Kim Mulkey. He's fine. We want women to be outspoken and strong, and then when she is, and yes, sometimes she says things and could say it differently and better, then we want to jump her.
She doesn't put a fine point on things. She's blunt. And I don't mind that. I mean, like
we ask people to give their opinions, and we rip people when they don't. Oh, he's not. And then so she is. There's times when she has to have a larger filter, but at least she's telling you exactly how she feels, and people lose their mind over it. But that's fine.
I think a lot of people are intimidated by her, are threatened in some weird way by her. Not physically, but just like maybe threatened by how strong and outspoken she is. I don't know. I don't understand the way she rubs off so wrong on people, because outside of a few comments here and there, which most of the time, if you just give it like a clear eye view, you can say like, oh, well, that's misspeaking, or that's just, hyperbole, or whatever the case. People want to take it literally just because they want to be mad at her for some reason, and I don't understand it. Like, I don't know what
There's
she
some jealousy
personally did.
involved, too.
Oh, it's a ton of jealousy, a ton of just being butthurt because she's standing in the way of other programs that feel like they should be winning the Big 12 on occasion. I mean, that's why the majority of people don't like her. If she wasn't a coach that was winning national titles every few years, who would give a damn what she had to say?
Yep.
Nobody.
Yep.
But the fact that she is so successful is why her words matter and why her words rub people the wrong way. And, I feel like her stuff gets taken out of context or taken so matter-of-factly when it's very clear oftentimes that what she's actually trying to say. So you're right. She could maybe say some things better at times, but people intentionally take what she says the wrong way.
Oh, no, they want it.
Because they just want to be angry at her for some reason. It's very petty and weak on the part of the people who choose to do that.
I agree. When we come back, and I understand there are times when, you probably shouldn't have said that.
Sure, yeah.
But that's, every one of us could sit there and look in the mirror and know that as well. Mack Rhoades is next on SicEm365 Radio. Ideal MRI. You have the logo behind us. They've been on the logo since the first day we did the show from the studio. They've been our title sponsors since the first show, 203 shows ago, back on April the 6th. Ideal MRI, this is what they can do. I got all sorts of different language and stuff in front of me. I don't need it. I've been there. I had an appointment set up in late March. They set it up online. They talked to me on the phone, gave me an idea what I needed to be ready for. I got there, checked in. It didn't take but a few minutes, maybe 5 at the most. And some of that was just checking off the boxes, and I did some of that even before I arrived. My left shoulder had been bothering me for a long, long time. And if you know me, I had a rotator cuff surgery on my right shoulder. So it wasn't that bad, but it was bothering me. And Dr. Rob Maxey said, hey, let's look at that. So I did. I went inside. The Texan specialist took care of me, told me everything I could find, what I needed to do, how to prep for it mentally and also physically. Went through the machine. It's a state-of-the-art technology MRI machine right in the smack middle of their business in the Central Texas marketplace, just off 340 and Highway 6 and I-35 in Waco. Got my results back by the end of the afternoon, that evening, from Dr. Rob Maxey. Explained everything to me, sent me a copy of the MRI, and I could then send it to Dr. David Haynes, an orthopedic surgeon at Southwest Sports Medicine. It was that simple. And it's $497 or less every single time. On average, it's $1,100. Why would you look anywhere else but IdealMRI.com?
At Baylor University, students find their place to shine. They're faithful friends and inspirational leaders. They're championship teammates and independent thinkers. They're on the cutting edge of high tech and in the halls of history. If you want to make the world a brighter place, you can. And if you want to shine in your own way, you can. The spark you need is already inside you. Bring it to Baylor, where lights shine bright.
It's a new year. Time to fire up the grill, heat up the oven, get that deep fryer going to enjoy the top quality products at Waco Custom Marketplace. Hi, this is David Smoak, including what you'll need to watch the NFL playoffs and Super Bowl. Ribs, sauces, links, brisket, chicken wings, bags of various snacks, and customized appetizer trays. Don't forget to order something now for the perfect home-cooked Valentine's Day dinner, which is closer than you think, including combo packs with ribeyes, fillets, and lobster tails. Live crawfish season is just around the corner. Absolutely the right time to fire up the grill, heat up the oven, get that deep fryer going to enjoy the top quality products at Waco Custom Marketplace. Waco Custom Marketplace, your family meat market, butcher shop, and bakery with everything baked fresh with old-fashioned farmers market atmosphere. Serving Waco restaurants and families since 1940. Your one-stop shop for beef, pork, poultry, and seafood needs. Waco Custom Marketplace, 425 Lake Air Drive, or WacoCustomMarketplace.com.
Riverbend Liquor and Wine has their easy-to-access drive-thru open and convenient and clean in-store location on the corner of Lakeshore Drive and North 19th Street in Waco. Riverbend Liquor has the best and most extensive variety of craft beer selections in Waco, and Balcones whiskey, including single malt, pot still, baby blue, rye, brimstone, and the all-new Lineage in stock. Riverbend Liquor and Wine, family-owned and operated, and a hidden gem in Waco on Lakeshore Drive at 19th Street. And find out more on Facebook and Instagram.
Hey, this is Bryce Petty, former starting quarterback and two-time Big 12 champion, and I know firsthand the importance of being in top shape both on and off the field. So listen up, men. If you're feeling beat down day in and day out and looking for that high-performance edge that separates the men from the boys, then look no further than the Petty Clinic Low T in Waco. Petty Clinic is a comprehensive men's healthcare clinic with an atmosphere catering to men. Board-certified Dr. Kent Petty has a special interest in offering the highest quality medical care to men of all ages. Some of the services offered include screening and treatment for low testosterone or thyroid, infertility, high blood pressure, diabetes, high cholesterol, sleep apnea, while offering comprehensive wellness exams and complete men's health lab panels. High performance men, remember, it's not just a Petty thing. This is Bryce Petty, encouraging you to reach out and Google search Petty Clinic Low T or go to pettycliniclowt.com and get your complimentary lab screening today.
In the market for a quality metal building? Since 1943, Pioneer Steel and Pipe has helped Central Texas residential and commercial customers with metal building design, panel options, building components, and trim options. Pioneer Steel and Pipe's residential line is energy efficient, offers low maintenance, reduces insurance payments, is impact resistant, and carries up to a 45-year limited warranty. In addition, they can also help you find a metal building contractor for your project. Pioneer Steel and Pipe with locations in Waco and Bryan and at pioneersboys.com.
Welcome back to SicEm365 Radio. Call us on the Impact Health Labs caller line at 254-339-1122. For your company's mass COVID testing, log on to impacthealthlabs.com.
Mack Rhoades is still not quite ready. We'll have him here momentarily. We don't have anybody, do we? 345. No. We're in good shape. King McClure will be not in studio this week, but on Zoom. He'll join us as well. So, by the way, Brian Etheridge put up a picture of a plate, and I don't know exactly where this was. Brian Etheridge, of course, one of the partners of SicEm365 Radio and SicEm365.com. It was a plate, and at the bottom of the plate, I think it was engraved, "Winner, winner, chicken dinner." He said, "It reminds me of something I used to hear all the time." Of course, the late, great Butch Henry, and some of you have been tweeting that, like the Double R hamburgers and some of the great endorsements that he did, and it was fantastic. It was cool. Brian put that up today on Twitter. There's one other note before we get to Mack Rhoades. We'll have him here momentarily. Eric Mateos today at 5:30, and a former Eric Mateos football player, All-American Brady Christensen from Brigham Young at 4:20. Conor McGregor's back in the UFC in the ring. Is that right? Or the Octagon, whatever they call it. Right?
Yeah. Whatever they call it. It's called the Octagon, yeah.
UFC 257. Craig's big into this. Conor McGregor, somebody that does move the needle. He's not quite what he was, but he's very popular in every way. People either want to watch him fight to get his brains beat in or watch him strut around in that way he walks around the ring. He's fighting Dustin Poirier. Is that right?
Yeah, he's fighting Dustin Poirier. They fought before. They fought years ago, earlier in their careers. McGregor won that. Poirier's gone on to be in big title fights and be in big fights and won a title. I mean, the UFC's title situation is like so many interims and things like that. I don't pay nearly as close attention to that aspect of it as I once did, because when I first started watching, there was 5 belts, and now there's like 15. So hard to keep track of. But no, Poirier's had a fantastic career. He's one of the best in the world. McGregor, enough said, one of the greatest of all time. And, you know, Conor, I will always appreciate that man for the time that I met him at the Super Bowl years ago, and how kind he was to me. He was incredibly kind. Did not 1 but 2 interviews with me because the first one didn't record. Not the fault of either one of us, but someone else, and it's not that big of a deal. But even when that occurred, he still did a walk and talk that no one will ever hear because it just didn't sound great the way we had to do it. But he did that, and he didn't have to. And he did that as his star was rising and not when he blew up. Had it happened 2 years later, he wouldn't even have been at the Super Bowl. Like, he would have been on a yacht with Jerry at the Super Bowl, if anything. But I've always appreciated him for that. And I think he's a good dude. I think The money, I think the star power, all that got to him like it does to so many people when he was at his heights. And just like it does with so many people, if you don't know how to handle it, you don't have the right people around you, it'll bring you back down in a hurry. And it brought Connor down. And he found himself in a couple different instances of trouble and just, got out of control. But he seems to have, gotten back to his roots, and he seems to be a guy who's going to stop with all the silly, I'm retiring, no I'm not, I'm retiring, no I'm not, that song and dance he was doing. I'm looking forward to this fight.
I wanted to bring this up as well because the bets are coming in. He's a minus 315 favorite. One bet, FanDuel reported taking a $188,800 bet on McGregor from a customer in New Jersey at minus 290. The odds would win $63,000, 103. They also had a bet for $100,000. So they are getting tons of money as he is a lightning rod in every way. Emotions, the way he fights, who he is, whatever. But this bet, they're coming in big time on the Conor McGregor, and that's why UFC and Dana White and all of them, they can say whatever they want. He does. He is someone you want to watch to either watch him win and dance and prance around the ring, or also you want to see him lose. I like the guy in some way. He's kind of funny to me. Now, we got to take a break here, and we'll come back with Mack Rhoades, if that's okay. Take a break here, so we'll have the rest of the hour when Mack is ready. He'll be ready for us in just a moment. 254-339-1122, SicEm365 Radio. Petty Clinic, LowT.com. Dr. Kent Petty can help you become the high-performance man that you want to be in many ways. Focus, sleep, energy, sex drive, all of the above. Some of it's just might maybe one of those. Could be two of those. It could be all of those. To be the high-performance man that you want to be, contact Dr. Kent Petty at pettycliniclowt.com. Here's what you do. Get online. There's a way to contact them. You can call them, or you can go online and also contact them. And by the way, tell them I sent you. And if you do, there's a good chance you're going to get blood work at a discounted rate. That's the blood levels that Dr. Petty will look at and see where your testosterone is. And as you get older, in fact, 1 out of every 3 men have an issue when it comes to testosterone levels that drop. It's Father Time winning that battle. So if your testosterone levels are too low after he looks at your blood work, he can put you in a program to help you become the high-performance man that you want to be. It's pettycliniclowt.com.
Start the new year with a new Ram truck from Allen Samuels. Ram's impressive towing capability, heavy-duty payload capacity, and smooth ride have earned Ram the Motor Trend Truck of the Year yet again. That's 3 years in a row. Check out the new 2021 Ram 1500 Lone Star Crew Cab with up to $7,250 in total value. Or take advantage of 0% for 60 or 2.9% for 72 and get $3,000 in rebates. It's the Start Something New sales event at Allen Samuels, your friend in the car business. Shop now at AllenSamuelsDCJ.com. See dealer for details. All offers have credit requirements.
Boozers is the wedding ring store and more. If you're ready to get engaged or already married and want to upgrade your wife's ring for a special anniversary, Boozers is the place to go. With the largest selection of premier quality diamond engagement rings and wedding rings in Central Texas. They have 7 cases with over 300 styles of rings from top designers like Natalie Kay. Choose from yellow, white, or rose gold, plus beautiful top quality loose diamonds. With an in-house jewelry, they can also custom make anything you want. Bring in a picture or drawing and let Boozers create your one-of-a-kind pendant or ring. They can even use some of your old gold and diamond jewelry to create something new. At Boozers, you'll find a great selection of quality timepieces, and Boozers is the place for expert watch maintenance and repairs, too. They specialize in expert Rolex watch repair for fine jewelry, watches, custom work, and more. Go to Boozers on Valley Mills and Lake Air Drive in Waco.
Boozers, the wedding ring store and more.
One size fits all. That may be all right for an adjustable belt or cheap sunglasses, but when it comes to your financial needs, no one wants a one-size-fits-all strategy. Cam Heathcott, your Edward Jones financial advisor, knows that his most important goals are yours. That's why he takes the time to understand your needs, knowing you. That's how Edward Jones makes sense of investing. Cam Heathcott, covering Conroe and Houston, 936-756-7717 or cam.heathcott@edwardjones.com. Edward Jones, member SIPC.
At Ideal MRI, we feel blessed to be a part of the Waco community. We're a small family business right here in Central Texas, and our goal is to bring down the cost of healthcare while maintaining high quality. At times like this, the cost of healthcare has never been more important, and unfortunately, significant illnesses and injuries still occur. That's why Ideal MRI is open and here to serve you through the difficult time. We offer premium MRIs just like a hospital with state-of-the-art technology and specialists, but you'll pay less. Sometimes thousands of dollars less, whether you're using insurance or not. At Ideal MRI, we accept most insurance and there are no hidden costs, even offering financing if that's needed. Everything included in the price, and you'll not get something as a surprise in the mail later on. If you need an MRI, ask your doctor about Ideal MRI. They'll know. You can schedule an appointment safely from home online in minutes at idealmri.com or give us a call, 833-IDEAL-MRI, idealmri.com.
After my first car accident, I feared the biggest damage would be to my wallet. I expected a mountain of bills and a long, drawn-out process. But my Texas Farm Bureau insurance agent was there when I needed her and helped me get back on my feet and in my car in no time. Instead of a hassle, I got reassurance and a quick recovery.
Stop by and see our agents at one of our 3 McLennan County locations.
Coverage and discounts are subject to qualifications and policy terms and may vary by situation.
Welcome back to SicEm365 Radio. Our weekly segment with Baylor Director of Athletics, Mack Rhoades, is brought to you by Edward Jones Investments Brokers, Tom Albers, Brad Wilson, Ben Erlinson, and Cam Heathcott. Edward Jones, making sense of investing.
All right, here we go. SicEm365 Radio. We'll be joined in a moment by Mack Rhoades, Director of Athletics at Baylor. Mack normally joins us on Tuesdays at 4:20. Today, he'll be with us in just a second. Again, the rest of our lineup includes former Brigham Young All-American, consensus All-American tackle, former 2-star tackle Brady Christensen will join us today at 4:20 on Eric Mateos and on Jeff Grimes. And, in fact, Eric Mateos will join us today at 5:30 as well. We're now joined by Baylor Director of Athletics, Mack Rhoades, with us on SicEm365 Radio. So, Mack, how much, and did you have conversations with, or what kind of feedback did you get when Kim in her postgame discussed where we are when it comes to basketball? I've spoken to her since then. I kind of have an idea what she really meant, but what kind of came out of that for you?
Kim, first of all, Kim and I have had, many conversations about COVID and protocols and hardships and frustrations and, all of those things. And so that wasn't the first time following that. And so, I think, first and foremost, I do think Kim feels it's safe to play. I think our student athletes feel that it's safe to play, and she feels that it's safe to coach. I think, when we've talked about this, when Kim and I have talked about it, or we've talked about it with the executive team or other coaches, there's a piece to this that is about revenue and playing games and commitment to TV contracts and all of that. And then there's also, the primary piece, the primary drivers that, we all made a decision way back in the summer that, if our student athletes want to play, we're going to play. And as long as we can do it, safely and our doctors feel good about it. And so, that hasn't changed. I think what's been hard in it all is just the continued discipline, the continued protocol. Those are all things that are just, they're hard. And it takes a lot out of you. It takes a lot out of you as a coach. It takes a lot out of you as a student athlete. And so, I don't know how many of our student athletes would sign up for if we got to do this exactly the same way next year, right? Everybody's hoping we get to a better place, because it's a lot, and it's hard, and you just feel all of these restrictions. But we're dealing with it, and Kim's dealing with it, and she's in a good place, and our women's basketball program's in a good place.
Mack, after seeing football and everything go through it, I would say that the hardest thing for the programs is not necessarily just dealing with a quarantine or the sickness or whatever. It's that because you've got a schedule that you have to meet and try to get in, it's that you could all of a sudden be better, and then that's 24 hours before you have to play a game, and you've had no routine, and you have to just go play a game without any practice.
Yeah, I mean, those are the things that are hard. Those are the things that are frustrating. They're hard to accept. And this, I would just say, Paul, in general, just this lack of control, right? And you have curveballs, right? You have the starts and stops, right? It's hard to play when you haven't played in 3 weeks, 4 weeks. I mean, that's impossible. I really believe that's particularly in the sport of basketball, right? It makes it very, very difficult. Now, we wouldn't be playing, with that time off if people said it was not safe to do so. So, but it's just hard, right? It's when you haven't faced an opponent and played at that intensity level, for a while, then having to do it and, basically start where you left off. That's just, it's tough to do. And, so this season, it's, however we rank teams, judge teams, we need to do it through the filter of, COVID and its interruptions and its hardships.
Mack, a pretty big back-to-back wins by your men's basketball team. I mean, for all the interruptions and things like that, beating Texas Tech and then turning around and beating Kansas like it was no big deal. How impressed were you by that?
Yeah, I certainly was. And, I was worried, going into the Texas Tech game because, we hadn't played since TCU. And so that's 7 days off. And, I think maybe that's a blessing if you're, at the end of the season and guys are worn down. But at this point in the season, I thought that was going to be really, really hard. And I think it showed when we played at Texas Tech. And not taking anything away from Texas Tech, you better be ready to play because they've got a toughness about them and a will to win. And so proud that, we were able to overcome, and a couple of our players, right, didn't have their best games and we're still able to find a win. And then, you've got 1 day to really rest and regroup and prepare and for a big, national game Monday night against Kansas. And, felt like, for the most part, we dominated that game. I mean, we had some lapses, and again, that's a tribute to Kansas, continuing to battle, right, and find a way to come back and at moments in the game make it closer than what we would have liked. But just a great job by our young men and certainly Coach Drew and his staff can continue to do a fabulous job just getting our kids ready to play.
There's so much we've discussed when it comes to the transfer portal, how players can almost become basically immediately eligible. But I want to clarify a rule because Baylor, as you know, the women's team, Chrislyn Carr from Texas Tech, is now a part of the Baylor program, but she played at Tech this past semester. There's a drawing line somewhere, right, where you can't be transferring, and they never, and I know that no one expects her to play now, but you never know in this day and age. There is a line to draw, correct, on transfers in season to play in season, especially like that case there?
Well, the conference has an intra-conference transfer rule, right, and conferences can do that, and it's usually more restrictive than what potentially the NCAA rule is, and so you're dealing with that piece, right? The transfer legislation that we thought was going to be, implemented here just within the last week or two, right? That's been postponed now. So you have those factors, right? It's interesting. I was talking to, I know you didn't ask this question, but I was talking to another coach, a Power 5 coach, high level at another institution. And we're just talking about with everything changing,
Certainly rosters, able to exceed the scholarship limit for the 1 year, right? The transfer portal, the new transfer legislation that it's going to be approved and implemented, whether it's in a month or 3 months, right? It's going to be implemented. So much of this now is roster management. I mean, it almost feels like a little bit, just almost. And I hate making the comparison because we're still the collegiate model, but it's just almost like where you're getting at a pro level where you've got free agents and all of this, and just this so much movement within your roster now, or potential movement in your roster. And so just this idea of managing rosters now is a premium, particularly when you think about football and you think about the basketballs if student athletes aren't having to sit a year anymore.
Mack, I saw that the Big 12 has agreed on the normal conference baseball schedule with 12 series and all that, 12-week season, 24 games or whatever it was. But what about the non-cons, the midweek games? How are you guys going to handle that?
Yeah, so big topic of conversation because we like other Power Fives, like we looked at, do you play 4-game series, conference opponents, right? Or do you stay traditional 3 and then you look to secure some midweeks and what's best in terms of safety, COVID testing, all of those things. And so, a lot of conversation, a lot of joint conversation with the medical directors of the Big 12, and we obviously landed where we did. And so, we'll play the 3-game series, conference series, right? And we'll look to try to secure as best we can midweek games. We'll test if we're playing a midweek game, right, or midweek series, I should say. We'll test that Sunday, Monday, PCR, right, after that series, right. Then we'll antigen going into conference, and so a lot of moving pieces to it. Where I worry is just the how successful are all of us going to be able to be at securing the midweek series games and trying to stay close and not get on planes. And so it's not going to be an easy task. I think it's going to be harder than what we might anticipate, but we'll find a way to do it, and it's the decision we made as a conference.
Mack, we had the opportunity to talk to Chancey Stuckey, your new wide receivers coach, yesterday. He was great. Talked to Jeff Grimes a few days ago. He was great. We'll talk to Eric Mateos later on today. But just how well are the new faces in the football offices getting acclimated, fitting in, and all of that? What have been your impressions of just kind of seeing this new group get to work?
Yeah, I mean, all positive, obviously. And if any of it was negative, I certainly wouldn't share it with you guys. But, it's like that coach, right? I've never heard a coach get up in front of anybody and say, I just signed a terrible recruiting class, right? So, but no, I'm really excited. I'm excited, just briefly, like in my interactions with him on the phone, prior to hiring him with now in person, just really, really good people, high energy, a lot of juice. Think they're doing a great job early on connecting with our young men, with our student athletes, and then you can just feel this connection amongst themselves. It's just it's a really good vibe. Make sure you give Coach Mateos a little hard time about how he had to go on his honeymoon for a week while everybody else was working. But no, happy for him. But no, I really like the group, and it's a group of people that you want to hang out with, and I think it's been a really, really good start with our student athletes.
Mack, I said just real quick on Coach Stuckey. I said this yesterday after we had him on. Baylor's kind of lucky that he and his wife are fans of Fixer Upper, not Duck Dynasty, or he might be in Monroe, Louisiana right now.
That's exactly right. I agree with you. And so Chip and Joe over the Robertson brothers. So I like it.
I don't know if you heard this story or not, and I mentioned it after we had him on because we had him on for a long time. Is that he was asked by Dabo Swinney to speak at some place to kind of give his speech about life and religion and his feelings and how his faith. And this was after he had played in the NFL for a little bit, and he spoke in front of whoever group it was, and it was so impassioned and so good that Dabo then said, "You're going to be on my staff." And he knew him, obviously, because he was his wide receivers coach and then the coach at Clemson, but he was that powerful of a speaker. How important is that to have those that go out? You have alumni meetings, which, of course, most of those are out right now, to have those who can go in front of alumni groups and represent what you represent?
Yeah, extremely important, right? And I think if I remember correctly, and I apologize if I don't, there's so many different conversations, but I believe that was, Coach Sweeney asking Chancey to speak to the Clemson team when they were participating Levi Stadium. I can't remember what game it was, but at the time, Chancey was preaching and this idea that I think Coach Sweeney presented to him that you can do that and be a football coach also, and that to have somebody that is well spoken, that can go out and captivate folks and really I love using the word inspire, but really be genuine and inspire people. That's huge. He's going to do that with people, beyond the walls of Baylor, the Baylor campus, right? He's going to do it with our student athletes. And I think Coach Stuckey, Chancey, I think he's a special human being, and he's going to be a great asset, great addition to our staff.
Mack, thank you very much. We appreciate that. Thanks for your time.
Gentlemen, thank you. Sorry I was late. So,
well, I mean, it's just a box of fig Newtons. I've already discussed that with Jovan. So,
well, I will bring I will show the doctor's note.
Are you a coffee drinker? Are you a coffee drinker?
In fact, I'm drinking coffee right now. Yeah.
Did you get that out of Chancey's office?
No, I did not.
Okay. You should, because he's apparently got good taste.
You get your cookies from Miranda and your coffee from Chancey now. You're fine. You're set perfectly. Chancey
was telling us about was a Brazilian brew with light notes he got from Common Grounds the other day.
Wow.
No. He's into it.
He's holding out on me. So you guys think I go down there to meet with him? I don't. I just go down there to get snacks and drink coffee.
Yeah, there you go.
Ask him about the Ethiopian brew or something like that, too. I'm telling you.
I will.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you, Mack. Appreciate it.
All right, gentlemen. Be good. Bye-bye.
Baylor Director of Athletics, Mack Rhoades, with us on SicEm365 Radio. When we come back, the 4 o'clock hour includes King McClure. His thoughts about Baylor's back-to-back wins against both Texas Tech on the road, Kansas on Monday, and Oklahoma State this weekend. Then Brady Christensen, consensus All-American tackle at Brigham Young, started out as a 2-star player out of high school, and now, look where he is, a projected first-round pick in the NFL draft. His thoughts about both Jeff Grimes and Eric Mateos next on SicEm365 Radio.
2021's finally here. Make it great by starting big at the New Year New Ride Savings event at Richard Carr. Big haul power, first-class comfort and ride, unbeatable technology. Sierra is the best truck on the road, and right now you can save $8,500 on a 2021 GMC Sierra SLE Crew Cab truck. Maybe you're looking for a top-of-the-line midsize SUV. Well, Richard Carr is offering $6,250 off of 2021 GMC Terrains. They're also offering $4,500 off of the stylish, intelligent, and nimble 2021 Buick Encore GX, which includes on-the-go Alexa technology. And during the New Year New Ride Savings event, all pre-owned cars and trucks are priced to move with amazing deals all over the lot, including cars and SUVs for under $137 a month for qualified buyers. So if your credit stinks like 2020, well, it's a new year, and in 2021, 100% credit approval is Richard Carr's goal. So bring your tax refund or your stimulus check, and Richard Carr will help you stimulate your stimulus with even bigger savings that will pay off for years. Go to Richard Carr Motors today for details and a test drive, or log on to richardcarr.com now and have them bring the test drive to you. Make 2021 the best year ever, starting with great deals and a new car or truck during New Year, New Ride Savings event at Richard Carr.
Don Humidor, your home with a 48-foot walk-in humidor with the elite cigar brands from around the world, including the #1 cigar of the year, Aging Room Cuatro Nicaragua. Plus, they have the great brands like Macanudo and Artur Fuente, Rocky Patel, Aston, and so much more. CBD, great for sore muscles, aches and pains, sleep, Vita Dreams, and anxiety, mild depression, general health and wellness. Their staff very knowledgeable on the subject. If anyone is curious about CBD, ask Carol and Ashley. Don Humidor in the Townwood Shopping Center off Valley Mills in Waco.
From the first workout to the last practice, sports is an incredible challenge. Hi, this is Dan Ingham with the First National Bank of Central Texas, and we're proud to support each athlete, every parent, and our educators. From families, small businesses, to the biggest industry, we're here to help. With remarkable products like First Free Checking, we've got banking ideas that fuel big dreams. The First National Bank of Central Texas. Familiar faces making local decisions.
Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Car has the trucks, man. They have the one for you. Crew cab, short or long bed, silver, black or blue. Texas size selection, great prices too. Richard Carr, he has the truck for you. Carr has the trucks, man. He has the truck you need. If you want the best truck, you want a GMC. Texas size selection, great prices too. Richard Carr, they have the truck for you.
Do you or your kids get nervous about going to the dentist? Stonewood Dental, Dr. Steve Childress, he can help.
I've spent a career taking care of patients who as children had bad experiences, and now they're adults that hate going to the dentist. If I get a kid at 3 years old and they come every 6 months and it's a happy experience, it's normal for them. Now they have an accident at 6 or 7 or 8 at school. Now they have a broken tooth or a trauma, and they have to come here. They're used to lights, they're used to water in their mouth, they're used to experience, they already trust us. It's amazing what we can do with that kid without it being a negative thing. But if I see a 6 or 7 or 8 year old that's never been to the dentist, and now they have a trauma or an unfortunate unexpected toothache, it's harder to do that for that kid and it not be somewhat of a negative experience. So bottom line is I try to teach kids and adults and teenagers and everybody the way I'd want my family treated, which is where it's a necessary part of life. You just take care of it. It doesn't have to be that big a deal.
Learn more, stonewood-dental.com.
Let Camille Johnson Realtors guide you seamlessly through the process of buying your dream home or selling your current one. Commercial, farm and ranch, or residential, Camille Johnson Realtors can smoothly and successfully lead you through any transaction. With a team of 28 experienced agents who are excited about serving you, Camille Johnson Realtors services the entire greater Waco area. If you're in the market to buy or sell, contact Camille Johnson Realtors, 104 Midway Center in Woodway, or find them online at www.camillejohnson.com. Camille Johnson Realtors, elegant, charming, warm. Welcome home.
Southwest Sports Medicine and Orthopedics, the team physician of Baylor Athletics. Our doctors specialize in the diagnosis and treatment of any and all sports-related injuries. Celebrating over a decade of service in Central Texas, our doctors are equipped to handle a wide range of issues, whether it's your foot or ankle, orthopedic spine care, your hand or wrist, knee and shoulder pain, or if you're in need of our arthritis or total joint clinic. Come see us at the new Baylor Scott and White Ted and Sue Getterman Sports and Orthopedic Center. Trusted doctors at Baylor Trust, Southwest Sports Medicine and Orthopedics. Our goal is to get you back in the game.
Welcome back to SicEm365 Radio.
Three, left side, good. King McClure, there's his second made three in the afternoon.
The 4 o'clock hour is sponsored by Boozer's Jewelers, the wedding ring store, specializing in custom jewelry and repair, all in-house.
Now, here's David Smoak, Paul Catalina, and Craig Smoak.
A couple of you sent text to us on the text line, questions for Mack Rhoades. In fact, one will be for Dave Aranda, who's expected to join us tomorrow at 5:30. We'll save that one on another edition to Baylor staff in the football department. Another one is more of a university question, and I will ask, in fact, Jason Cook to give me some clarification not so much through Mack Rhoades. Okay, we're now joined by former Baylor guard, ESPN broadcaster King McClure, who joins us by Zoom. And look at you. How you doing?
I'm doing fine. I'm actually doing really good. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. You got an incredible smile, by the way. I think I may have said that before. I'm not flirting with you or anything like that. I'm just telling you that. Look at that. Lights up the whole screen. Then you got these three other guys over here. King, how hard is it to go Saturday, Monday against anybody, much less a knockdown, drag out in Lubbock, and then back at home against KU?
Man, that's incredible. It's hard no matter who you play, like you just said. I mean, for you to go to Lubbock. Lubbock is a hard place to win. I mean, I don't think people really take that into account, because ever since I was a freshman, we struggled in Lubbock. I think my freshman year, when Chris Beard wasn't even there, it was still Tubby. We won on a buzzer. That next year we lost. Then Chris Beard got there, and then the place just went absolutely stupid. So that's hard to do. So then you turn around on a Monday and play Kansas and dominate Kansas that whole game. That's unheard of, and not too many teams can do that.
King, is Kansas no longer the big bad wolf for Baylor anymore? I mean, because it felt for a few years that, like, you'd get to Kansas, and even though you might be evenly matched, there was kind of a nervousness about, oh my God, it's Kansas. But lately it seems that not to disrespect them, but they do appear to be, they're a team that you have to respect, but not one like, oh my God, we're playing Kansas.
Yeah, I mean, Jake Lindsey during the game, he texted me and was like, hey, I wish we would have played against these Kansas teams, because the Kansas teams I was playing against was Frank Mason, Devontae Graham, Wayne Selden, Josh Jackson. Like, those teams were stacked and loaded, and that's like, oh my goodness, we're playing Kansas. Like, we got to bring it. I think, not to disrespect this Kansas team, I think they're good, but they're not the Kansas team, not the same Kansas teams in the past. And I think it's starting to shift in the Big 12. I mean, teams are not starting to be, starting to shift as far as top of the rankings. And I think that Baylor is starting to solidify themselves as the number one team in the Big 12. They were last year. This year, I think they're really just starting to take over that new role.
King, I don't know if you saw, I'm sure you probably did, Fran Fraschilla's tweet in regards to, what was it, Mark Vital, right? And he had said that, this just doesn't appear to be the same Mark Vital that we saw the last, year or so. And then, Mark sees that, obviously. He turns right around and has a monster game against Kansas. What did you think of Mark's response, and how much do you think that fueled him?
I think it fueled him a little bit. I mean, when you saw his response, fake news, I kind of agree with Mark. I mean, does he look, like Mark? Yeah, he looks like Mark. But Mark Vital is going to bring the same thing to the court every single time. He's going to play hard, bring energy, get rebounds, play defense, ultimately, block shots, and just make crazy plays. So I think that's Mark Vital for you. Who cares about how the way his body looks? He's going to go out there and perform every night. And I loved his response to that, going out there, playing hard, and dominating. So, I mean, that's just what you expect from that dude.
I just saw Alvin Brooks post this up, Alvin Brooks III. Games ranked as a team, Baylor basketball history, under Scott Drew, 254 times they've played a game ranked under Scott Drew. Before that, 2. Now, they had a great team run back in the late 40s. They were in the Final Four, so to speak, played Kentucky. But when you see that, King, and you're part of that. You're a part of that 254. But did you ever realize how bad it was before he arrived?
So no. When I first committed, I didn't. But then as I, went through my 4 years, they would bring back some of the old players like Tall T. I forgot my other guy's name. He wrote a book on how bad it was. I'll talk to Jake's dad. Yep. It was terrible, and I didn't realize that. It was really bad when Coach Drew took over, and I didn't really realize that until I got here and learned some of the history. But credit to Coach Drew, because he's doing it, and he's one of the top coaches in college basketball, whether people want to give it to him or not.
Around the Big 12, I know that some teams have taken some losses, but I mean, Texas right now is the biggest threat to Baylor. Do you see somebody else sneaking in there and being a threat to them right now?
Other than Texas, I like Texas Tech. I think Texas Tech is a team who if they can find another scoring option, because they struggle to score the ball, which is really rough to watch it sometimes. But defensively, they compete as well as anybody. I think they're almost just as good as Baylor defensively. That's the only reason why they're able to stay in games, because they really can't score. So if they could find another scoring option, I think that Texas Tech could be a team to give Baylor a run for their money down the stretch and potentially make it to that Elite Eight, Final Four, because that's what Chris Beard is known to do.
King, Baylor's got, at least on the schedule, you never know in the COVID era, but they've got Oklahoma State coming up this weekend. That's been an interesting team to watch. What do you make of the Cowboys and also Cade Cunningham?
Shout out to Cade Cunningham, Texas Titans product. But Cade Cunningham there's a reason why they have him as a top 5 draft pick. He makes everybody around him better. He's a 6'7" point guard, which is rare nowadays. But he really makes that team better. Him and Isaac Likely, a guy who ruined my senior night, gave us 30 on my senior night, and we took an L to Oklahoma State on senior. That's crazy. That's a whole nother story.
Still bothers you?
That still bothers me.
It's never not going to.
For sure. But the Cowboys are good. They compete, and Coach Boynton is a great coach. He gets his guys to buy in. And with Cade Cunningham making his teammates better, all the players believing in Coach Boynton, I think this is a team that could potentially cause problems. I don't think with the way Baylor's playing that they'll beat Baylor. But I think they could cause problems if Baylor just comes out and they're not focused already.
What is, in your opinion, it seems like when Baylor's offense is in movement and it's rotating and it's doing their thing, the weave, whatever you want to call it. I don't know how many people can do much about it when they're that active, but it does seem at times as if they almost, and I'm not saying this, but it appears as if they almost get bored, and that's when you see some of the turnovers. It's kind of a focus issue. Do you see any of that, King?
I think turnover is just part of the game. I mean, it happens. They're 19, 20, 21. It's just a part of it. But I think with their offense, it's just so free-flowing. I mean, a lot of their points is just, mano y mano, you got to guard me, you got to stop me. And they got 4 guards who can score whenever they want to and can score on anybody one-on-one. And Jared Butler is just Jared Butler. Like, come on now, 30-piece. He's one of 2 players to score 30 points against Kansas twice. Him and Kevin Durant. Crazy. Dude is unreal. He was unreal in that Kansas game. But the guards are so talented. I mean, Maceo, Davion. But I think what I'm most impressed with is the defense. Like, if you saw the way they were rotating against Kansas and the way they were able to move and basically get Kansas out of their whole offense, and the way that they were forcing Kansas to take bad shots, be uncomfortable in their offense, the defense is incredible by Baylor.
King, you mentioned Jared Butler and how well he's playing. His game has gotten even better than it was last year. What do you think he did to get so good at taking the ball to the basket this year? Because his moves in and around the basket this year are head and shoulders above where they were even just a year ago.
Man, I think Jared Butler is all confidence. I mean, I tell people this all the time. It's not, when you look at him, yeah, he's gotten a little bit more athletic this year. I mean, but he's not really crazy athletic. He's not fast. He's not super strong. I mean, he's just an average basketball player as far as physicals. But he's so confident, and he thinks that every shot he's going to take, he's going to make. And I saw that my senior year when he was a freshman, and we went into Kansas, and that was the game I think he had 30, the first time he dropped 30 on Kansas. And right then, I mean, Coach Drew in practice would be like, hey, don't take that shot. And he's the type of dude that's like, yes, sir, because he's not disrespectful. But he's going to come right back that next possession and take that same exact shot and make it because he believes in himself. And when you're that confident, I mean, the sky's the limit. And I think that's what ultimately, is getting him all this success. That's why he's able to score better, is more versatile, because he believes in himself. And he is truly one of the most confident people I ever met.
We've had Jerome Tang on multiple times. It's great to have him on the show. He told me, I asked him about this on Monday when I had a chance to visit with him. He said that Scott Drew, and really it's the entire staff, never stops trying to find one more piece of information to help you, whether it's to diagram a play, to defend a play, to do something, an edge. Were there times at the very end of a day when you thought you had everything you needed where something else would be brought up that helped you win a game?
Yeah, Coach Drew, man, he works. Like, I've never, actually I have seen it before, my dad, but very few people can compete with Coach Drew's work ethic. I mean, that man will call you. If he sees something before a game, he will call you, I'm not even joking, at 1 o'clock in the morning. Yeah, I'm not even exaggerating. He will call you at 1 o'clock in the morning and say, hey, I'm watching this play and I think you could do this better. And I'm like, Coach, I'm asleep. Like you woke me up out of my sleep to tell me this. He's like, yes, let's do this. Let's work on this. I'll talk to you in the morning. Like Coach Drew stays up to like 1, 2 in the morning watching film because he always wants to be the best and always strives to be the best. And I really think that's what's getting him over the hump. That's why he's getting these accolades and all this success.
By the way, Jerome Tang just texted as we were starting this hour that he was getting ready to break down Oklahoma State, watching your segment as well. Does that make you a little bit nervous? He's still scouting you.
Man, Coach Tang, he watches all my games. Shout out to Coach Tang. He watches my games on TV, and he still texts me things. Like he's like trying to coach me during the game.
That's awesome.
I love it. It's always him and my mom always texting me information like, hey, you should say this, or hey, you should talk about this. And I'm like, hey, I love it. I love Coach Tang to death. Like that's like one of my second fathers.
Former Baylor guard King McClure, now part of ESPN, with us on SicEm365 Radio. Paul Catalina, Craig Smoak, and I'm David Smoak. The way that Jonathan Tchamwa has developed, the way that Matthew Myers is starting to get it, although he didn't get to do much in that game. How thrilled are you to see those guys mature, since you have kind of seen a bit in pieces of them along the way?
Yeah, I mean, with Jonathan, I really saw him a little bit because he wasn't there when I was there. Matthew, I saw the beginning, and it was rough from the very for real. To see Matthew now to what he was back then is two different people. It's like the light is clicked and he's matured. And I tell people all the time, he's one of the most talented players I've ever played with in my life. Like he's a 6'9" two guard. He can handle the ball. He's athletic. He can shoot the three. When you play him one-on-one, you're not going to block his shot because he can shoot right over you because of his height. Like the kid is extremely talented and has a lot of NBA potential, but the lights clicked, and I'm glad to see that. I'm extremely happy to see his maturity.
You know, in this era of transfers and everything else, it's kind of a testament to what the coaching staff and he have come to an understanding because, you know, a guy that's as talented as he is, you know, after his freshman year didn't get to play as much as he'd want to. Most places he goes somewhere else that'll placate him and let him play, but he might not be better. Nah,
for sure. Like, especially in the era where we have a lot of, I don't know why this generation, I mean, I guess I'm including this generation, but they don't see the results they want. And their first instinct is to run away and leave instead of endure the hard times and get through the battles. So that's a testament to, you know, Matt, but that's also a testament to the coaches, you know, because Matt trusted in the coaching staff that they had a plan for him. And even though he wasn't playing, wasn't getting the results he wanted, just wait your turn. And it's paying dividends right now.
So Oklahoma State has had to shut it down. They've been kind of waiting. That's who Baylor's supposed to play on Saturday. I like what Coach Boynton's done there. They're dangerous. Is there a long enough break between KU and Oklahoma State on a travel that gives them a chance to go, hey, we're pretty good, but they focus now next? Who's up next?
I mean, I don't know, because I mean my personal opinion is like, yeah, they've been out. I think there's two ways you can look at this. I mean, Oklahoma State has been out for maybe 2-3 weeks, but they could be super rusty when they come back, or they could be fired up, super fresh, ready to go, especially coming off a win against KU. And they're super confident. And best believe Coach Drew, Coach Tang, the whole staff, they're preparing like Oklahoma State is going to be fired up, ready to, super confident and ready to play because they beat Kansas. Now Oklahoma State, knowing them, they're probably going to think they could beat Baylor too. So you got to come ready.
What's your next assignment?
Man, I had a game today, and that got canceled due to COVID.
What?
It was Texas Tech and TCU.
Okay.
They got canceled for COVID. Then I had a game on Saturday in the MEAC, North Carolina Central and North Carolina A&T. That game got canceled too. So my last 3 events have gotten canceled. So I don't think my next event is till sometime next week. I think I got my schedule. But my two for this week got canceled due to COVID.
Well, one of the things about that is it got to be made up, you hope, between now and before they start any conference tournaments. So maybe you'll get like 5 in a week or something like that, hopefully for you.
Hey, I'm always down to work.
King, we appreciate you when you're on Zoom, in studio, anytime. Thank you, young man. Thanks for your time and have a great week.
Of course. Thank you for having me.
King McClure, former Baylor guard, he has done a great job on ESPN, but that's part of the deal. You know, like Fran Fraschilla is as an elite college basketball analyst as there is in the business. Jay Billis is in that category. Of course, you have the personalities as well, like a Dick Vitale. But, I mean, he's been basically relegated to non-TV at times with Westwood One Radio on Monday night. So that coming up next, we've been able to hear from different coaches or people who played under Jeff Grimes when he was younger or not. I have been working on trying to find somebody that was coached by Eric Mateos, and we ended up finding that. He's a consensus All-American. He's next. Brady Christensen of Brigham Young, next on SicEm365 Radio. Alan Samuels, Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram Fiat. Come by, let's be friends. I got a text from Ted Teague. In fact, during the show, they, of course, a sponsor of this show and also a sponsor of what we do from start to finish. Also, there's an 11 to 2 show that's with Drake and J.D. as well, up-tempo. But Alan Samuels has discounts and opportunities for you right now at the start of the year. There's a lot of discounts and a lot of great deals at the end of the year, but that has continued on with what they have at Alan Samuels. I put on my reading glasses because I don't want to get some of these bonus cash dollar figures wrong so that you go get me, well, it'd be good for you, but $5,670 on the 2020 Dodge Charger SXT, 0% for 72 months, standalone, one of those two. How about the 2020 Jeep Renegade Latitude, total values of $6,750. 2021 Jeep Cherokee Latitude Plus and the LUX, the Lux package, $5,500 in total values. And you could always, when you want the best in trucks, the Ram pickup truck, back to back to back. Motor Trend Truck of the Year. Alan Samuels, they are always making sure that everything when you walk on their dealership from in the parking lot inside their dealership is safe for you as well. Or you can go online, AlanSamuelsDCJ.com. Alan Samuels, Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram Fiat, Loop 340 east of 84 in Waco.
With more than 160,000 alumni worldwide and counting, the Baylor family is growing. And through the university's expanded Baylor alumni program, the family is growing closer. With hundreds of local volunteers planning events in cities and towns around the country, you can gather with fellow Bears no matter where you are. So, get connected, get something started, get involved, and make plans to get together with Baylor alumni. Visit us at baylor.edu/alumni.
One size fits all. That may be all right for an adjustable belt or cheap sunglasses, but when it comes to your financial needs, no one wants a one-size-fits-all strategy. Ben Erlinson, your Edward Jones financial advisor, knows that his most important goals are yours. That's why he takes the time to understand your needs, knowing you. That's how Edward Jones makes sense of investing. Ben Erlinson, 100 North 6th Street in Waco, 254-759-8533. Edward Jones, member SIPC.
Learning to navigate life in the COVID-19 world has been a struggle, and where and how to get tested has been one of the biggest challenges. Impact Health Labs has your answer. If you need mass testing for your office, church, dormitory, or school, Impact Health Labs is who to call. They will come to you, conduct the testing at your location, and have the test back within 24 hours. Most major insurance accepted, meaning your out-of-pocket cost is low. So no more waiting by the phone for days to find out the results. Impact Health Labs was founded by 3 Army licensed and credentialed medical professionals. They believe in accuracy, efficiency, and doing the job right. Call 254-744-6233 to set up your group screening today. Impact Health Labs, on-site, prompt, and accurate, taking COVID-19 head-on. Again, that number is 254-744-6233 or online at impacthealthlabs.com.
What you do in privacy is your own business. What you do in public with your truck, well, that's our business at Pickup Outfitters. In your garage, it's okay for your truck to parade around in the nude with no accessories. Hey, this is still America. But when you bring your truck out in public, it's just common decency to put an outfit on your truck. And that's where we come in at Pickup Outfitters. Put a cover on that bed. Cover your rear end with a bumper and a hitch, for goodness sakes. There are women and children on the roads. And guys, don't leave your tools exposed. Put them in a toolbox. Be proud of your truck and stand tall with a lift kit. Or improve your truck's posture with a leveling kit. Add some class to your pickup with new wheels and tires. Or dress up for a date with your new RV or boat with a fifth wheel or a receiver hitch. At Pickup Outfitters, we're dedicating to making the roads decent for all Central Texans. So when taking your truck out in public, remember your manners and accessorize it properly with an outfit from Pickup Outfitters. 220 Lake Air Drive in Waco.
Waco's newest gym, Halo Athletic Center, 5725 Bagby Avenue, right behind Region 12 and across the highway from the Central Texas Marketplace, where motivation, inspiration, and hard work are the driving force. State-of-the-art equipment, indoor and outdoor track, locker rooms, showers, yoga and bar classes by Duality Yoga, Bod Pod potty composition analysis, and registered dietitians, all under one roof, where we rise above. Come join the Halo Athletic Center and be a part of the change. Your change.
Welcome back to SicEm365 Radio.
The Sic'em365 Radio app is sponsored by Alan Samuels Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram Fiat in Waco. Your friend in the car business at Loop 340 and east of 84. Come by. Let's be friends.
Brady Christensen, All-American offensive tackle, Brigham Young. He's projected to be a first-round pick in the NFL, in Dallas working out, getting ready for the Combine, which is rather unique. And, of course, he was coached by Jeff Grimes, Eric Mateos at Brigham Young. Brady, first of all, let's talk about the Combine, which is what you're preparing for, but it's so unique this year. What have you been told, and how unique is it going to be in what you can and cannot show?
Yeah, it's interesting. There's still a lot unknown, obviously, a lot of unknown with COVID. I've heard some things from the NFL, like they might not be able to have it or whatever, just things that everyone's heard and reported. But as far as the Combine prep, the biggest thing I can do is just to work my butt off and do my best and worry about what I can control. And I know the NFL will take care of their business and what they need to do, and so I just need to take care of my business and what I need to do.
You are a consensus All-American. You had an incredible year. Brigham Young had a really good year. Your quarterback is also going to be obviously very highly drafted. How much of an influence of what you are now as a football player and a person came from Jeff Grimes, who's now at Baylor, and also Eric Mateos as well, who are both now at Baylor?
Yeah, a huge part. Those two guys are just such good guys all around. Very faithful guys, spiritual guys, and just hardworking guys. And so I basically, my whole playing career was with Grimes, and then I had 2 years with Mateos. And the way they molded me first into a football player was a huge aspect of it. But then also as a man, I really respect them as men, and I really became a better man because of them.
You know, you mentioned to me when we talked earlier about how you were a scout team player and how you matured into because who you went up against as well. Baylor's offensive line really did struggle, and they've really at times struggled the last handful of years with the transition of 3 different head coaches since 2016. If you could say something to one of those or all of them, whoever's coming back, what would you tell them about what to expect?
Yeah, I would tell them to really trust Grimey and Mateos. I mean, their job is to get the most out of their players. So I think they do a great job at playing towards their players' strengths. I think that's what they did such a good job at BYU. They kind of had a couple years to figure out our strengths, and then they just did a killer job this year at just calling plays and designing plays to really fit our strengths. So just to really trust them overall would be my advice.
So Grimes was the offensive coordinator for 3 years. He seems to be just on him. It's just a matter of time before he has his own program. He's got head coach written all over him. Your thoughts about what he meant to Brigham Young?
Yeah, he's the man. I think he would be a great head coach if that situation ever arose. But he's just a great leader. first and foremost. He leads his people, and not only by word but by his example, and then his football knowledge too. You can tell he's been around football his whole life. He just has such a great knowledge for football, and he loves it too. He loves the game of football, which radiates off him. He's in there working his tail off to come up with the best game plans, not only because he wants to win, but because he truly does love the game. And that's what I really respect out of him.
And Eric Mateos seems to be, not that they're different, but he seems to be, and this isn't a complimentary way, because he's kind of a mess, right? I mean, he's fun-loving, and he loves, but he's also dead serious in what he does as an offensive line coach.
Yes, you'll never meet a more passionate guy than Coach Mateos. I mean, with everything he does, it doesn't matter what he is. He's going to be passionate about it. He's going to be fiery about it. Where Grimy, he's a little more... not reserved, but a little bit more like calm and like more focused. But you'll never meet someone more focused than Mateos as well. It's just in a different way. He just uses his personality, and it really is amazing. The combination of those two is, I think they do a great job together.
What about the technique part of what Eric Mateos, and Jeff Grimes is an offensive line guy too, which is, again, a great combination. What about the technique of what Mateos taught you as an offensive lineman as you got to yourself in a position where you're now projected to be a first-round pick?
Yeah, I mean, Grimey's been around the O-line basically his whole career, and so he's a technician, unbelievably sound in technique and the way he teaches it. And then Mateos as well. They both understand the offensive line side of the game of football so well, and they're able to teach it well, and to be able to get it out of the players that they coach. They just do a great job, and really for me too, because I was pretty raw technically when they came in, and they really molded me into the player that I am today.
Do you have a favorite funny story about either one of them?
Yeah, so Coach Mateos at BYU, you know, it's a religious school. We have the honor code, and so like swearing is like people obviously we swear there and by accident, but we try our best to not like swear a bunch, you know. And so Coach Mateos, he's getting mad at someone on the scout team, and instead of like swearing like coaches do, he just yells at him. It just yells. He doesn't say anything. He just yells, and then he walks back. And it's just the funniest thing because that dude, like, he was just amazing at accepting, okay, BYU's a religious school, got the honor code, got those things, and he bought full into it, and he lived it, and it was really amazing to see, but also funny to see in that moment for him to hold his tongue. It was awesome. You're
projected high. I've mentioned that multiple times, and Brigham Young had a great year. There's no question. What is it when you're at a school that's not a Power 5 and you're really good, and you guys were? How can you kind of give us what it's on your side of it about being a non-Power 5 in this day and age of college football? And do you ever really feel like you have a true chance to play for a national title?
Yeah, I mean, we have to believe that to be able to play and practice every day the hardest that we can. We have to believe that we have a chance to win the national title. It's definitely difficult. Like if you lose a game, I mean, kind of like we did this year. I mean, you're out. But really, we can't. Like I said before, you can't control that. Mm-hmm. And so, in the end, week to week, we were just trying to be the best we can and to beat each team in front of us. It didn't matter who it was. It didn't matter who lined up against us. We were going to go out and play the best football that BYU could play.
How good is Zach Wilson, Brady? You protected him. Obviously, you guys gave him an opportunity to put up monstrous numbers. How good is your quarterback, and your thoughts about the NFL with him?
Yeah, Zach's an unbelievable guy, teammate, and friend. I love protecting him, and I just enjoyed watching him make the plays he made. As an offensive lineman, you want to do your job the best that you can so your guys behind you can make plays. I mean, that brings me more joy than anything is watching my guys make plays. So it was fun to play with him and to be able to have 3 years with him at BYU.
You went on the mission trip. You were gone for a couple of years to start your collegiate career after high school. It was Bountiful, Utah. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Yeah. What a beautiful name.
Yeah, so Bountiful is awesome. I grew up there basically my whole life. It's just it's about 5 minutes north of Salt Lake, 5 or 10 minutes north of Salt Lake, and it's just kind of in the Bench Mountains, you know, and so you have everything. You have the mountains, you have anywhere you want to eat. It's not ginormous, but it's big enough to have everything you want. So I love growing up there. Bountiful High was amazing. My coach, Larry Wall, he's a legend at Bountiful. And so it was a perfect spot to grow up.
The part about the mission trip, which is what is a part of being involved with Brigham Young, how much did you grow as a person having those 2 years to do that before you came back to start playing football?
Yeah, that was huge. I mean, I left and I went to New Zealand, so overseas when I was 18. And so I was just a young kid, you know, and you really have to grow up and live on your own, and you're away from family and friends. And so it teaches you a bunch, and you really grow up and become a man over those 2 years. So it was great for me and awesome for me, and I think it's also great for my football career as well.
So let's talk about you. I mean, you've got a lot of people thinking this could be a first-round pick. You and I mentioned your quarterback as well. What's it like right now as you go into this new year where you play? What's it like being someone that is highly thought of as a professional prospect?
My first thought is it's hard. Like, you have no idea where I'm going to get drafted. I hope to go and I'm working to go as high as possible. Whatever round that may be, I have no idea. But just to give everything I have these next couple months to put myself in the best situation as possible is what I'm shooting for. I don't care where I play. It doesn't matter which city. I just want to do my best in everything I do.
So one more thing on Eric Mateos. You shared with me kind of something was a hobby or a passion of his, and you said he's as passionate a person as you'll ever meet. He loves snakes. So
yes.
Did you ever get to meet any of them, and how did that kind of get out that he was a big snake lover?
I'm not sure how it got out, but he was telling us about his snakes when he first got here and showed us some pictures. I've never met his snakes, but one was named, I think Monty Python was one, and the other one was something else, and huge snakes, and he loved his snakes. I wish I did meet him, but since he got married, he had to get rid of his snakes. His wife told him no snakes.
Yeah, so, he's not going to get to keep them now. One more time on Coach Mateos and Grimes and Brady Christensen, All-American, consensus All-American offensive tackle at Brigham Young, who's getting ready now for the NFL draft. What is Baylor getting with those two?
Yeah, you're just getting two guys that, first off, love the game of football. Second, love their players and want the most for them. And third, you're just getting two guys that will give it their all. That's what you're getting. It's plain and simple, and their philosophies are simple, and they do a great job. I'm excited for them, and I'm excited for Baylor, too, to see what they can do.
And excited for you as well, Brady. Thank you very much. Congratulations for your time on what you're doing, what you've done, and also the impact of Eric Mateos and Jeff Grimes. Brady Christensen, All-American offensive tackle at Brigham Young, SicEm365 Radio. All right, coming up in the next segment, we'll hear from John McClain, Hall of Fame writer. They did the Pro Football Hall of Fame presentations virtually, and they put it up online so you could watch it if you were on the Twitter feed, wherever, and we'll have him on with that. Then 5 o'clock, John Machota and Eric Mateos at 5:30, Baylor's offensive line coach. Brian Bauer and Waco Custom Marketplace. Right now, of course, every morning they have fresh baked bread, kolaches, and much more in the bakery. When you walk in the door, 425 Lake Air Drive in Waco, you walk in the door to the right, there's 5 or 6 levels of the refrigerator for anything from cold beer to energy drinks to soft drinks to milk and things like that. And then off to the right, you'll have the bakery with all the sweets and treats and various even cookie cakes or what you want, they'll bake for you, also make for you. Could be a pie, could be something like that as well. They have a little coffee station. Chancey Stuckey talked about coffee. They have a little coffee station right next to the bakery if you want to get some donuts or something. And then in the back is the butcher shop. Man, this is where I like to go and find custom cut steaks. For me, bone-in ribeyes. For you, maybe it's a bacon wrap filet. For you, maybe it's a regular ribeye without it boned in, and that's fine too, along with pork, poultry, and seafood. You can customize Waco Custom Marketplace. That's what they do. Customize whatever you want from the butcher shop or the bakery or both, and in between, anything from boxes of cereal to cooked meals that you want. You know, for example, au gratin potatoes, or if you need some Rotel tomatoes, or you need some pasta or chips or seasonings or sauces or something like that, including some of their sauces or some of their seasonings from Meat Church. Not sure if you've heard about them, but you'll find that there as well. It's a great place to find a variety of different brands of what you need and maybe even test something along the way when you cook. Brian Bauer and the Bauer family, amazing what they've done. It's Waco Custom Marketplace at a time for you to also look at various boxes or what you need for Super Bowl Sunday, if in fact that's what you're going to do to have a big day when that game is in 2 Sundays from this one. It's Waco Custom Marketplace at 425 Lake Air Drive in Waco.
Boozers is the wedding ring store and more. If you're ready to get engaged or already married and want to upgrade your wife's ring for a special anniversary, Boozers is the place to go. With the largest selection of premier quality diamond engagement rings and wedding rings in Central Texas. They have 7 cases with over 300 styles of rings from top designers like Natalie Kay. Choose from yellow, white, or rose gold, plus beautiful top quality loose diamonds. With an in-house jewelry, they can also custom make anything you want. Bring in a picture or drawing and let Boozers create your one-of-a-kind pendant or ring. They can even use some of your old gold and diamond jewelry to create something new. At Boozers, you'll find a great selection of quality timepieces, and Boozers is the place for expert watch maintenance and repairs too. They specialize in expert Rolex watch repair for fine jewelry, watches, custom work, and more. Go to Boozers on Valley Mills and Lake Air Drive in Waco.
Boozers, the wedding ring store and more.
Born in Waco, Brotherwell Brewing exists to serve the Central Texas community with locally crafted beer of the highest quality. They want to bring Central Texas closer to the brewing experience so everyone can enjoy well-made beer as much as they do. For 2.5 years, they've been bringing high-quality beer to Central Texas at their location on Bridge Street in East Waco. And this football season, you need to stop by on game day for curbside pickup or stop by their tent next to Sic'em365 at Brazos Parking for your pregame refreshment. Brotherwell Brewing believes in community and bringing people together to enjoy products made in their community. So for your game day, whether it's a tailgate or at home, stop by Brotherwell Brewing for high-quality craft beer made right here in Central Texas, 400 East Bridge Street, and check them out online at brotherwell.com.
MP Electric has developed a quality-oriented electrical contracting service in more than 20 years in the industry. Led by President Mark Perry, our electricians go through a 5-year apprenticeship program, are licensed by the state of Texas, and getting continuous education annually upon renewal. In great part, the success of MP Electric lies with its management and professional expertise of its employees. All of our employees share a dedication to quality and commitment to serving the needs of our customers. For new construction and remodels, parking lot, lighting and surge protection, landscape lights, security lights, troubleshooting and repairs. For industrial manufacturing, food and beverage, paper and publishing, heavy industry, cement and rock crushing plants, water distribution plants, and utilities. For 20 years, MP Electric has serviced industrial, commercial, and residential products. We do service right. MP Electric Inc. at 1890 Galaxy Road, Waco. MPElectricusa.com.
It's time to be brutally honest with yourself. Look in the mirror or weigh yourself. Do you weigh as much, more, or less than you did before the holidays or a year ago? Why not start the year in better shape than how you ended it and create momentum for 2021 and help strip the negative vibes, tension, pressure, and extra pounds from the crazy of 2020? It's time right now to join Waco Regional Tennis and Fitness. It's so much more than a gym, including world-class tennis courts, lessons available with pros, fitness merchandise, tanning, massage, personal training to get you over the hump. I promise you'll look better and feel better than ever before. Just need to walk through the front door. Waco Regional Tennis and Fitness with personal trainers Christy London and Randall Corp. 40-plus group exercise classes, including twice-a-week boot camp, spacious, clean workout room, free weights, Cybex cardio equipment, and no intimidation, a tremendous camaraderie and family atmosphere. So make this your best and healthiest year ever. It's time to react today, not tomorrow. Waco Regional Tennis and Fitness on Lake Shore Drive in Waco.
Welcome back to SicEm365 Radio. It's time for our weekly segment with John McClain of the Houston Chronicle, brought to you by Pioneer Steel and Pipe, where customer service is their main focus, and best in metal, steel, and pipe for large or small projects, with 2 locations in Waco and Bryan. Family owned and operated since 1943.
Jack McKenzie's here. Armstrong, how's Rob doing? He seemed like he's fine. Jack's able to go do his thing. Paul, what's Jack doing?
Jack is right now working on our graphics for the top 5.
He's incredible with that. We'll have that at 5:55.
He's in his zone. That's what he would prefer. He would want to be sitting in that chair doing graphics all day long.
He's in Mamba mode right now.
Yeah.
Mamba mode. And of course, Craig and Paul, I'm David Smoak. John McClain joins us, Hall of Fame writer from the Houston Chronicle. John, it was interesting. I was able to drop in on occasion to see those who were pitching for the finalists for the Pro Football Hall of Fame. Obviously, it was virtual. I heard Shireen on Drew Pearson, among others. How was that to be a part of it as somebody who is on that, I guess, in that committee?
First of all, we usually do that the morning before the Super Bowl in the Super Bowl city. It always starts at like 7 a.m. You get there at 6:30, and because it has to be tabulated to be announced on the NFL Honors Show that night, it's on national TV. We usually get it done 7 to 8 hours. But they decided first of all, it's still going to be announced on the NFL Honors Show, but they decided to do it yesterday on Zoom. And I liked it because I told Paul when we were coming on, I didn't have to dress. I could slide out and go to the bathroom when I wanted. I could slide out and get something to eat when I wanted. I moved it where only the top of my head showed, and I had a cap, that way I could tweet a lot. But it's always interesting to listen to all the presentations, and it's so difficult to narrow that list. Usually we rubber stamp the recommendation of the senior committee, Drew Pearson, the contributors committee, Bill Nunn, and the coaches committee, which was new, Tom Flores. And I'm on the main committee, the senior committee, and the coaches committee. So I believe Drew Pearson will finally make the Hall of Fame because we've been rubber stamping that for years, but he won't find out till the day before. And there won't be anybody, I don't think, who's had to wait longer than Drew. And as someone growing up in Waco as a diehard Cowboy fan, one of the things I spoke up about after Shireen Williams' presentation, I said, guys, when you think of great clutch quarterback receiver combinations that consistently made big plays over time, tell me one bigger than Roger Staubach and Drew Pearson. I said maybe Jerry Rice and Joe Montana, maybe Peyton Manning and Marvin Harrison. But I said, tell me one that was bigger, that came up bigger. And that was one of the things that I put out there. But I feel confident in that. So the way at first we had 15 finalists after those 3 in which we vote. And we spent, I got on Zoom at 8:20 and I got off at 5:30, and we don't know who's won it. They don't want it leaking out, and we don't know anyway. They went to great pains to make sure we didn't. But I'll tell you this, the greatest presentation I've ever heard was by Mike Chappell in Indianapolis. Ladies and gentlemen, Peyton Manning, thank you. and they said, does anybody have anything to add? Usually the presenter has 5 minutes. Sometimes they go over, and you could have everybody debate somebody. And there was a lot of debate on everybody and a little on Charles Woodson, who's a lock, but there was none on Peyton because had there been, then our meeting would have been over 9 hours. And so I'm pretty sure old Peyton's probably going to make it on the first ballot.
All right, John, what in the world is going on with the Texans right now?
Well, they're trying to hire a head coach. I think there are three main candidates. They're the enemy, Kansas City offensive coordinator Leslie Frazier Buffalo defensive coordinator. One of them will eliminate the other on Sunday, and I think Matt Eberflus, Indianapolis defensive coordinator. They've interviewed 8 guys. They're deciding who they want to bring back for in-person interviews. The winner of the game Sunday won't be able to come back till after the season's over, which would be after the Super Bowl. It is hard for a Super Bowl assistant coach to get a head coaching job because all the good assistant coaches have been taken. So I don't know how it's going to play out. As far as Deshaun Watson, most of what you're hearing about Watson being traded is in the national media. And here, a lot of people are panicked. But as my column, the lead tomorrow, I said that'd be the dumbest thing I've ever heard. Why would you trade a quarterback you've been trying to find since Warren Moon was traded in 94? And then I say he will not be traded. But if he were, he'd have to stand in line in this hall of shame of players who've been traded from Houston teams. And since everybody listening, most of them are from Texas. Let me just put a few of them out there for you. And I go back to Joe Morgan with the Astros. A pitcher, Mike Cuellar for the Astros in the 60s, went on to the Orioles to win Cy Young Award, 2 World Series, 4-time 20-game winner with the Oilers. Kenny Houston, Steve Largent, Warren Moon, all in the Hall of Fame. Rockets, Elvin Hayes, Moses Malone, traded and ended up in the Hall of Fame and winning championships. And Nolan Ryan wasn't a trade, but the late owner, John McMullen, who sold to Drake McClain, he decided Nolan was too old after 9 seasons, refused to sign him. He got death threats, could never come back to Houston. And, of course, Nolan went on to pitch, I think, 5 more years with the Rangers. So we have so many people from our city who were traded and were great with other teams. So Watson would just have to fall in line if it were to happen, which I do not believe it will.
John, so what do you think it's going to take to smooth things over? What will that process look like in your opinion?
Well, usually players are angry because of money. He's about his contract for $156 million kicks in next year. So it's like I tell people, okay, what if he did want to be traded? He hadn't issued an ultimatum, but what if one of his agents leaks to the national media he wants to be traded? So what do? Okay, we'll trade you. No. What's he going to do? Retire? He makes $10 million this year. Next year, he makes $35 million. So if you sit out, your contract just tolls. That means next year he'd be making $10 million. So do we see him retiring 20? It'll be 25. No. And so they'll get it worked out. I think the GM Nick Caserio, he's been interviewing candidates for 2 weeks. He's going to have to talk to Watson. New coach will talk to Watson, and I think they'll move on. And Caserio can tell Watson, I know how to win a Super Bowl. I got 6 rings. Starts with a great quarterback. Let's do it together.
John, I read Brian Smith's column yesterday about Deshaun Watson needs to put his name on it, and I saw that you tweeted it out. Do you agree with Brian's column that Deshaun needs to say something here? Because let's say he is back, and of course it's the Texans. They have the leverage because he's under contract, although we think they do. But is he not damaging the brand of which he's trying to play for or will be playing for if he always stays?
Well, first of all, that would not be known until I think March 17th when the new league year starts and free agency begins. Now, cap's supposed to be at least $180 million. I think J.J. Watt will be gone. That'll clear off $17.5 million from their cap. That'll wipe out their cap deficit and give them several million to spend. And they'll make some tough decisions on other players. So they're going to have money to spend on free agency. Well, why would they want to come here when the national media keeps talking about how bad it is? I heard that. Blows me away. Excuse me. Dan Orlovsky from ESPN, who used to be a quarterback here, yesterday on ESPN was saying, it's so bad in Houston, I can't even say it on TV. Watson has to get out of there. And I was like, you're so full of it. People in the national media, they hear a lot of things from unnamed sources. Usually it's people like agents close to players that I don't hear. Is Watson upset? Yeah, he's upset. Do they have it fixed? No, they don't have it fixed. I think a lot of it will be fixed when they hire their head coach. I believe it'll be Eric Bieniemy or Leslie Frazier, possibly Matt Eberflus, who knows his team better than anybody. But Bieniemy goes up against them every year. Went up against them twice last year and an opening game this year. So he knows the roster, and I think it'll all be smoothed over. And then when you pay free agents, they go where the money is, and everything will be hunky-dory at some point. It looks like we're going to have another virtual off season. So this may not, Watson knows. If you want free agents to come here, you can't drag this thing out past March when you're trying to sign free agents.
You mentioned Bieniemy. What has been, because, he's this bright coordinator. His name has been out there for a couple of years. Is there something else missing with him, or is it just timing?
I don't know. He's had 12 interviews the last 2 or 3 years, 6 this year. And people are saying, why would Eric Bieniemy want to go there? Are you kidding me? Anybody would want to come here. There's 32 of the jobs. He's going to get at least $5 million a year. You think he'd walk away from millions of dollars? No. And so whoever they offered to, and they're one of 2 left along with Philadelphia, the Eagles have not reached out to Bieniemy. I don't know what he's done to not get a job. Some people say he's turned down offers till he gets the right offer. And if he's going to come here, team 1 season removed from a division title and a playoff victory with a quarterback like Watson, I'd be shocked.
Anything else, guys?
Yeah, John Phillip Rivers retired today. Do you think he's first ballot?
No, I think Peyton Manning's first ballot. If you're a quarterback, there can be no question, no debate. And I feel like that on all of them. Guys like Peyton Manning, Joe Montana, John Elway, Jerry Rice, those are no-brainers. And I think there will be discussion about Phillip Rivers. I think he'll get in the Hall of Fame. I'll just be surprised it's the first one, but I could always change my mind.
John, how strange do you think the combine experience or lack thereof is going to be? And do you think that will result in maybe more missed evaluations than ever because of just a lack of personal, instruction, contact, talking that they normally have?
Craig, we were told this year was going to be so hard for rookies and going to be so hard for a lot of people because no preseason games, no contact, no off-season program. And the good teams are still good, and the bad teams are still bad in most cases. So the good teams will find a way to work around it because they have good scouting and personnel departments. Now, if you are a new head coach, I did say this last year, if you're a Matt Rule and you've got new coordinators, you have new everything, it's hard to adjust to not having what you ordinarily would have. And now that goes for Houston. You have a veteran scouting and personnel department working with Nick Caserio, and they've been working on free agency and the draft for a year. So I don't think it'll be as hard for them as it is the coaches. But as always, Craig, the good ones will do well and the bad ones will do bad, unless you're the Browns.
And I need to ask you about the Astros. Michael Brantley re-signs with Houston, but George Springer on his way to Toronto after a very memorable stint in Houston. Your thoughts on Springer's departure and Brantley's return?
Like Garrett Cole last year, we knew Springer was gone. He just was. He got $150 million over 6 years. I hate it. He was one of my all-time favorite players, probably number 2 to Jeff Bagwell, but they just weren't going to pay him. They got Brantley 2 years, $36 million after all these national media reports. He had signed with Toronto. No, he didn't. And so people are fired up about that. The Astros need some good news, and they got it with Brantley.
John, thank you very much. Appreciate your time.
Thank you, guys.
John McClain with us today, because yesterday they were in how long, Paul? 9 hours of virtual presentations. I heard 2 or 3 of them, and he's right. The Peyton Manning one was very simple. It lasted about 25 seconds, I believe. That's it.
I'm with him on Rivers. I don't think he's a first ballot Hall of Famer. I mean, like I said earlier, I think
he's a compiler of stats.
Yeah, he was around a long time. He was good. He was never great necessarily, but he had a lot of great quarterbacks around him at the same time. But, yeah, I mean, that'll be one to watch. I mean, obviously that's years away now, but the fact that Drew Pearson will, barring something unforeseen, be a Hall of Famer, I mean, that's going to be, he's already kind of let it sink in and all of that, but there still needs the official word and the introduction and all of that. But we all know what that means to Drew Pearson. So of all the messiness of 2020, And who knows what 2020 will bring, but that was one of the better stories out of the year was Drew Pearson finally getting that phone call.
One quick note, the Whataburger, this is the super team, I believe. I'm not sure if this goes through Dave Campbell's Texas Football Magazine. I believe it does, but Geyers, defensive lineman, Cooper Lands, who's a Baylor signee, he made the super team. So that's cool, and just wanted to throw that out. I just saw that. It came down my timeline as well. All right, coming up, the 5 o'clock hour, John Machota, the Cowboys lose Maurice Linguist. He's on his way to Michigan. What do? They have a new strength and conditioning coach because, remember, unfortunately, the passing of Marcus Paul and just a few other nuggets about the offseason. And then Baylor offensive line coach Eric Mateos will join us today at 5:30. And this is SicEm365 Radio.
I want you to remember this website, impacthealthlabs.com. What do? They do mass COVID testing for your office, your school, your church, your dorm, whatever it might be. If you need mass COVID testing, say you're back at the office and you've got somebody who has COVID. Well, what do you do to get your employees all tested? They will come to you. impacthealthlabs.com. They'll schedule your appointment. They'll come to you, and you'll have the test back in 24 hours. They take most major forms of insurance, so your out-of-pocket cost is very, very low. COVID-19 is part of our lives. It's going to be part of our lives for the foreseeable future, even with a vaccine. So these things are going to be needed to taken care of. And Impact Health Labs has a great system of getting the test done, coming to you. It's very easy, very simple. It's founded by 3 ex-military medical professionals, and believe me, they believe in precision, they believe in quality, and they get the job done fast and right. ImpactHealthLabs.com.
With so many companies and policies out there, it gets so confusing shopping for insurance, and I never know if I'm getting the policy that's right for me. Luckily, I met the team at the Niche Group Insurance Agency. With the Niche Group, you can go to one company and get access to coverage options from many insurance carriers, and you get to speak to a real person about your specific coverage needs. With the Niche Group, I know I'm getting the right coverage at the right price. If you need insurance, talk to the experts at the Niche Group at 1-800-258-8302.
Bird Culchin Ford has been in Waco since 1936. Ford, the #1 selling truck in Texas, 43 years running. And Bird Culchin Ford proudly supports high school football in Central Texas. And no better way to tailgate with a Ford than from Bird Culchin Ford. And are there better vehicles to tailgate with than the Ford F-150 or the Ford Expedition? And of course, you can get them new, pre-owned Bird Culchin Ford. Our sponsor of the Ford Tough Player of the Week, locally owned dealership. Online at bkford.com at 1701 West Loop 340 in Waco. Bird Culchin Ford.
Did you know that 1 out of every 4 men have symptomatic low levels of testosterone and don't even know it? And if you think you're too young to worry about it, guess again. Low T levels can make you feel tired and grumpy, cause weight gain, and wreak havoc on your sexual desire and performance. Petty Clinic Low T can set up same-day blood screening and results, so if you're tired of being tired, I challenge you to man up and Google search Low T Waco or go online pettycliniclowt.com. It's a private clinic with an atmosphere catering to men. Affordable, only $150 a month, includes lab work, office consultation, testosterone injections, follow-up visits compared to $395 a month in Dallas or Austin, and you don't have to fight the traffic. Petty Clinic Low T as board-certified physician consultations will provide the best form of brand-strength testosterone available. Contact Petty Clinic Low T today, just off Highway 84 and Old Hewitt Drive in Woodway. Petty Clinic Low T, helping men become the high-performance men they deserve to be. PettyClinicLowT.com or Google search Low T Waco.
Let Camille Johnson Realtors guide you seamlessly through the process of buying your dream home or selling your current one. Commercial, farm and ranch, or residential, Camille Johnson Realtors can smoothly and successfully lead you through any transaction. With a team of 28 experienced agents who are excited about serving you, Camille Johnson Realtors services the entire greater Waco area. If you're in the market to buy or sell, contact Camille Johnson Realtors, 104 Midway Center in Woodway, or find them online at www.camillejohnson.com. Camille Johnson Realtors, elegant, charming, warm, welcome home.
At Ideal MRI, we feel blessed to be part of the Waco community. We're a small family business here in Central Texas. At times like this, the cost of healthcare has never been more important. And unfortunately, significant illnesses and injuries still occur. And that's why Ideal MRI is open and here to serve you through this difficult time. So if you need an MRI, ask your doctor about Ideal MRI. You can schedule online in minutes at idealmri.com or call 833-IDEAL-MRI.
Southwest Sports Medicine and Orthopedics, the team physician of Baylor Athletics. Our doctors specialize in the diagnosis and treatment of any and all sports-related injuries. Celebrating over a decade of service in Central Texas, our doctors are equipped to handle a wide range of issues, whether it's your foot or ankle, orthopedic spine care, your hand or wrist, knee and shoulder pain, or if you're in need of our arthritis or total joint clinic. Come see us at the new Baylor Scott and White Ted and Sue Getterman Sports and Orthopedic Center. Trust the doctors at Baylor Trust, Southwest Sports Medicine and Orthopedics. Our goal is to get you back in the game.
Welcome back to SicEm365 Radio. It's time for our weekly segment with John Machota of The Athletic, brought to you by Pioneer Steel and Pipe, where customer service is their main focus, and best in metal, steel, and pipe for large or small projects, with 2 locations in Waco and Bryan. Family owned and operated since 1943.
What a first half for Gallup. First and goal from the 7 to the end zone. Looking for Gallup.
The 5 o'clock hour is sponsored by Edward Jones Investments, with financial advisor Brad Wilson. Investing his time and experience back to you and your money during today's changing times. Edward Jones, making sense of investing.
Now here's David Smoak, Paul Catalina, and Craig Smoak.
Baylor offensive line coach Eric Mateos at the bottom of the hour. One note about Baylor football. Dennis Polian is now listed on the Baylor staff directory under athletics. He's the senior associate AD football chief of staff. He is the son, one of 3 sons. He's the son of former Bills general manager Bill Polian.
And the brother of Notre Dame special teams coordinator Brian Polian.
So that's one of the additions to the Baylor staff. He's a graduate of Villanova and now a part of the Baylor football staff, and now a part of that job, as I mentioned, Senior Associate AD Football Chief of Staff. John Machota joins us today, as he does on Wednesdays at 5 o'clock from theathletic.com. And, John, some moving parts. It looks like Maurice Linguist is on his way to Michigan. That's something that's a great promotion, I would think, from him, even though he's a part of an NFL staff. Your thoughts about him?
I didn't think he was going to be back. It seemed like they were going to go in another direction with their defensive back coach. Now, Al Harris was co-defensive back coach with Maurice Linguist, so he might still be staying on. That position hasn't been made public yet, what they're going to do there. So there's been some other positions that they've talked about, but bringing guys in, but they're not completely done filling the staff. But I didn't get the sense that Maurice Linguist was going to be back. Now, I think he was still under contract, so maybe it was one of those type of things where they were like, hey, if you can find something else, go take it. But it seems like they were really trying to clean house on the defensive staff and really make it all about, guys that Dan Quinn feels comfortable with.
How legitimate an opportunity do you think that Kellen Moore has with the Eagles, or is that a troll job by Philly?
It's tough for me to say if they're trolling or not, because I just feel like they're interviewing everybody. So it's like, Which, hey, I mean, if you don't have a guy that stands out that you absolutely want to hire, why not, kick the tires on as many candidates as possible? And, maybe you find somebody that, you didn't think was going to be the guy that really blew you away in the interview process and things like that. But I'd be a little surprised. I don't know. I think Kellen's in a good spot where he is right now, calling plays. I say that I think it's a little early for him to be a head coach, but you see how quickly some of these young offensive minds have gotten head coaching jobs. So you really can't say that is a fact, because you have seen other NFL teams go that route. Man, I'll tell you, the thing for me personally, I would just be interested to see him, 3-4 days a week in front of the Philadelphia media answering questions like after a loss. I don't know. Like I can't even picture that. just from our interactions with him. Like, I don't know if that's something he really wants to get into. I mean, there's just so much, there's so much more that comes with being a head coach than just coaching football. There's just so much other stuff that you have to do, and we can say it, BS that you have to deal with. That I don't know. Like, you can't sit there and turn down that interview. I just think he's in a really good spot right here, and frankly, I could see the Eagles going with somebody a little bit more accomplished, maybe somebody that has some head coaching experience. But hey, why not take the tires on a guy that the last time you played against their offense, they pretty much did whatever they want against you. So it makes some sense to do it. I would be a little surprised if he ended up being the hire, though.
John, I know that Dak's coming back next year, so this is not as important as it would be if, like, say Andy Dalton was the starter, but does it appear he's already on his way out of Dallas after a season?
I mean, it's tough to even say that right now because we don't know what the market is. I mean, I wouldn't have thought that he would have been a possibility last year at this time. And and then just the way things unfolded with Cam Newton, Jameis Winston, and every year there's going to be, not just head coaches, but quarterbacks. There's always shuffling that goes on, and there's always openings. And so it creates different spots where like dominoes could fall. But if when all the offers are on the table, if there isn't any that are giving him a better chance to be a starter immediately, and it looks like he's going to be a backup somewhere, I don't know why he wouldn't just re-sign with the Cowboys for, another year just to see what happens. Because it's just hard to say. All these teams want to go. If you either have a quarterback or you don't. And if you don't, generally you want to go younger. So it's like, are you coming in there and this team says, hey, you're going to be our starter, but we also just drafted a guy in the first round? Well, if you have two bad games, you're getting pulled, and that young guy's getting put in there because everybody's going to want to see the young guy already if you spend a first round pick on him. So I don't know. It's tough to say right now because I don't know what his other options are going to be. And to be honest with you, I don't think he really knows what his other options are going to be right now.
John, I was going to ask you this question. As someone who basically you have columns, you have a beat to cover the Cowboys. How has what would normally be the case with a team that is so active in the community and everywhere, whether they're players in shows or events or whatever, how has all this affected you staying tuned in on what and where everybody is and what they're saying and what they're doing?
Yeah, this year has definitely been a lot more reserved, laid back, whatnot. You definitely don't get as much of that stuff because the guys aren't making the appearances that they were before. And then you add in there the fact that it was a really bad season. It was a really disappointing season. So guys generally don't want to talk then either. It's easier to get guys that, when things are going well and the team's winning and stuff. So you come off this first year with a new coaching staff, there's definitely been changes. And then you mix in COVID and then just a disappointing season. Yeah, of my almost 10 years covering the team, it's definitely been the hardest to get any stuff like that. And it doesn't look like it's going to be that much easier going forward in the immediate future because of the fact that, we just found out, the combine isn't going to really happen like the typical combine. That's, I can tell you right now, for most reporters, that's your number one spot to get information because all the agents are there and all the front offices for all the teams are all in Indy during that week in February. And now that that's not going to happen, and even the Senior Bowl is very limited on the access they're going to be given. So those are generally some spots in the offseason where you can get some good information and things like that from, several different sources. So, yeah, it's been more difficult, but I would say comparing it to the other teams in the league, it's the Cowboys, so you still get, you're still going to get some radio interviews. You're still going to get things from here or there where guys are going to talk. But, yeah, it's definitely different.
John, I'm sure you saw the NFL memes thing about, Tom Brady's years in the NFC and, NFC championship games and since 1997 and Dak saying, hold my crutches and all that. When do you think that, or do you think that weighs on the current Cowboys, that it has been so long since they've been truly relevant as a team and a championship contender?
Yeah, I think it weighs on guys like Dak and like Zach Martin and Tyron Smith, guys that have been around for a while that are in positions of leadership on the team. I think it bothers them. But like younger guys, I think they're just trying to make an NFL team and they're not really worried about stuff like that. I mean, I talk about this all the time with my friends back in Detroit and family members when they talk about the Lions and how, the organization seems like it's cursed. They can never get it right and whatnot. And I'm like, yeah, but a lot of these young guys on the team don't care about that. First of all, they're not from Detroit and they don't care what the background was of the team. They're just trying to stick in with an NFL team. So, hey, if they can win on top of it and collect a paycheck, that's great. But You just don't have these teams anymore where you have these guys that are around for a long period of time on the same team. And that one of the reasons why I think Urban Meyer will work in Jacksonville, because you don't have to deal with a lot of the BS that Nick Saban dealt with from these older veteran players. Like, you go to Jacksonville, if you're Meyer, you just bring in a bunch of young guys and be like, you don't like it, leave. We'll just draft some other guys. We're not expected to win anytime soon anyway. And so I wonder how much the guys really care about that long drought. But it's certainly those players I named. Obviously, the coaches wanted, because they're being hired to win. So that's on them too. But it's mainly got to be Steven and Jerry Jones, because they've been here for all of it. And Steven's been asked this multiple times, especially even within the last year. And without saying luck, his entire answer basically points back to luck. Like, it's hard to get back to the Super Bowl. It's hard to get to these things. You got to get into the playoffs and, have some things go your way and stuff like that. And I'm just like, yeah, but you're the Dallas Cowboys. Like, you can't be depending on stuff like that. Like, and then not to have gone there for, and I don't know why that ESPN thing said 1997 or something. You can go back to 1995. It's the last time they went to the NFC Championship game was the 95 season. So, you're talking 25 years. Like, there's more than luck there. You got to look in the mirror and go, there's something we're doing that's not right. It's more than just some bad luck when almost every single other team, other than 2 or 3, have been to their conference championship game since then.
What do you think of the success Cole Beasley's had in Buffalo?
Not really unexpected. The Cowboys clearly wanted to keep him. It's just that they weren't going to be able to pay him the money that he was going to be able to get on the open market. But when Cole would have times in a season where he wasn't putting up numbers, like he would have like a big game, then you kind of wouldn't hear from him for a little bit. I never really looked at it as like, Cole's not playing well right now. You know what you're going to get with him. It was just the fact that he had other receivers around him. So there's just some games where it's like, he's not going to be the number one target. And so you don't hear from him that much. And that's happened with him even a little bit this year in Buffalo with Stephon Diggs, being, having the great year that he's had in that. So it doesn't really surprise me though. Like he brings something to the table that just about any given play, he can technically be open. So if you're very comfortable with him as a quarterback, you can go to him, 10, 15 times in a game if you really want to, because he always finds a way to get open. But when you got Stephon Diggs, you're also going to give him his throws. And then the thing is with the Cowboys, it's like, it's hard to sit there and second guess anything that they've done on that one position just because of how loaded they are at wide receiver. But yeah, no, I'm not surprised that Cole's having success. He's an outstanding player.
Yeah, no question about it. Paul, anything else? Yep. Craig? All right. Thank you very much. Hey, John, thank you very much. Appreciate your time with theathletic.com. Covers the Cowboys, NFL, of course, in the conference championship game. It's been since 1995 when the Cowboys won their third of 4 Super Bowls, 3 Super Bowls in 4 years. When they won it in 95, beat the Packers in the championship game. Next year, they were really, really good, had a lot of off-the-field distractions, and then lost to Carolina in the second round. But it has been that long, since 1995, for the Cowboys to be in the NFC Championship game. And really only one team, maybe 2, that was legitimately, not just the regular season, could have been a team that might have gotten and played for and won an NFC Championship.
Was the Carolina game the one where Michael Irvin hurt his shoulder or collarbone, and then he wore an orange suit on the sidelines in the second half?
Yeah, I don't know what it was, but yeah, that was a game. And that was a good... That was a really good Carolina football team with what's the guy, the defensive he's a defensive coordinator somewhere else. Tom Capers was, and then Tom Coughlin that same year took a second-year franchise or whatever they were in Jacksonville to the edge of a Super Bowl as well. So, of course, there's a lot different for franchises that have, what would you call them, expansion teams, compared to what the Bucs had to deal with back in the day, or Seattle. They basically gift wrap you. All those, what were those called, Paul?
The expansion picks.
Expansion draft. Yeah, the expansion players. It was almost like a draft within other teams' rosters, which before you got lucky with what the scraps were.
Think about the people that they got from other people's rosters. The Jaguars got Mark Brunell, Keenan McCardle, and Jimmy Smith.
Worked out pretty well.
Pretty good.
Yeah. And then they drafted guys like Tony Baselli and Fred Taylor. So, they're not messing around.
All right, we'll have, at the bottom of the hour, Eric Mateos. By the way, I want to go back to that note that I gave you about Dennis Polian. He replaces Austin Thomas, who was in that role with Baylor football. It's kind of the chief of staff, so to speak. Thomas went back to LSU, and now Dennis Polian takes his spot. And I believe that Baylor may have used like an outside firm to kind of find this position. And Dennis Polian was recently on a staff with Kevin Sumlin for a couple of years in Arizona. Of course, that didn't work out for Sumlin or Arizona. He's been in the Canadian Football League. He's been numerous places in the NFL as well. So been at Boston College. He's got a full resume, and now he joins Dave Aranda's staff. Dave Aranda will join us tomorrow. We appear, I believe, at 5:30 tomorrow on SicEm365 Radio. All right, when we come back, let's update some of the stories of today, and also including many things of what's going on when it comes to what Baylor's doing, men's basketball, what games are canceled, what's postponed, women tonight against Oklahoma State, much to get to. This is SicEm365 Radio.
Riverbend Liquor and Wine, a hidden gem in Waco, Lakeshore Drive at North 19th Street. Look, their customer service is second to none. When you walk in the door, if you're kind of confused and looking for something, you ask them and they tell you like, hey, bottom shelf, third one back behind that one. And boom, it's right there. They know their store. And plus, if you want a recommendation, they've got great recommendations. They're experts in pretty much every field when it comes to liquor, beer, and spirits. They've got balconies all the time, fully stocked, even their own special release that they still had bottles of at last check when I was there earlier or late last week. It was fantastic. Only can get that bottle of Balcones at Riverbend Liquor and Wine, that single barrel, 5-year-old whiskey. And their craft beer, again, like I said before, second to none. They've got a variety of craft beer, seasonal replacements. They're always churning through the craft beer. And so if you're a craft beer fan, no matter what time of year it is, you can probably find what you're looking for at Riverbend Liquor and Wine. Lakeshore Drive at North 19th Street. Find out more on Facebook and Instagram.
With so many companies and policies out there, it gets so confusing shopping for insurance, and I never know if I'm getting the policy that's right for me. Luckily, I met the team at the Niche Group Insurance Agency. With the Niche Group, you can go to one company and get access to coverage options from many insurance carriers, and you get to speak to a real person about your specific coverage needs. With the Niche Group, I know I'm getting the right coverage at the right price. If you need insurance, talk to the experts at the Niche Group at 1-800-258-8302.
It takes time to reach goals. It's a truth that applies to more than sports. It goes for your financial goals as well. You work hard for your money, and you deserve an investment strategy that lines up with your game plan. And Tom Albers, your Edward Jones financial advisor, can help. If your financial investments aren't putting forth the effort you desire, stop by today for a financial review. Tom Albers, 4301 Lakeshore Drive, 254-776-7605. Edward Jones, member SIPC.
You want to know why Stonewood Dental is so successful? Listen to what happy customers have to say.
It's pleasant. It's different than any other dentist office. I really feel like they care. And it's not that you're here for 2 hours waiting on someone to take care of you. It's quick and easy, and I bring my kids, and my kids love being here too. They really love the treasure box. Staff is really nice and accommodating, real friendly. You feel more like home. It's not sterile looking. Everybody has their own personalized rooms with decorations and decor, and they'll even have a blanket for you when it's cold. I've recommended people to actually come here, and they are patients now. I really love it here. It feels like family.
Learn more, stonewood-dental.com.
At Baylor University, students can shine in their own way. Or should we say their own ways? Because there's no limit to the ways Baylor students make the world a brighter place. Whether they're leading a student organization or following a higher calling, getting advice from faculty, or taking part in world-class research, pursuing their dreams, or working toward their dream job, students find their place to shine at Baylor, where lights shine bright.
Learning to navigate life in the COVID-19 world has been a struggle, and where and how to get tested has been one of the biggest challenges. Impact Health Labs has your answer. If you need mass testing for your office, church, dormitory, or school, Impact Health Labs is who to call. They will come to you, conduct the testing at your location, and have the test back within 24 hours. Most major insurance accepted, meaning your out-of-pocket cost is low. So no more waiting by the phone for days to find out the results. Impact Health Labs was founded by 3 Army licensed and credentialed medical professionals professionals. They believe in accuracy, efficiency, and doing the job right. Call 254-744-6233 to set up your group screening today. Impact Health Labs, on-site, prompt, and accurate, taking COVID-19 head-on. Again, that number is 254-744-6233 or online at impacthealthlabs.com.
This is SicEm365 Radio. Text us at 254-339-1122. The SicEm365 Radio text line is sponsored by Riverbend Liquor and Wine, with the most extensive variety of craft beer in Waco. A hidden gem on Lakeshore Drive and 19th Street.
I got my Ambit bill today, Paul, my energy bill. Mm-hmm. You get one for your mansion?
No, I have automatic payments. So
have you looked at your automatic payments for the last month?
Yeah, I get for my energy. I get a weekly email of what I'm using.
What do you use?
It's been good. It's been good.
What?
Yeah, it's been good.
Not mine. I'm gonna have a high bill this
month. Are yours separately from what you do with your regular monthly mortgage payment? Is it included?
Yeah, it's separate.
Okay, mine is. I guess it snowed or something around here, right? I mean,
it's been a little cold.
Mine jumped nearly like $75-$80. It used to be $119. This was like $250 or something.
So I know that I'm going to be up at least like $15 just based on the month. But here's the thing: I run my house very energy efficient. Plus, I have gas. Stove and everything. So yeah, I mean, I might here anyway, but no, I have natural gas stove and
not from enchiladas.
No.
Okay,
yeah. I mean, so that helps the power bill go down because I'm not cooking with electricity or anything. So it helps.
Yeah, mine's gonna be like $50 higher easily.
Yeah,
easily.
Also, if you're cold in my house and you come to visit me, I got a sweater you can put on. Until it gets to a certain point when
one of those old man sweaters.
Well, no, I'll probably just give you like a Smoky.com sweatshirt. I got a couple of those sitting around.
Snuggle up with Woodrow.
Yeah, here you go. Look, here's a fleece blanket. Curl up and quiet down.
Oh dear.
Heat costs money.
Did you ask because your bill's up? Is that why?
No, I got it and I was paying it and I just went on. It's like, oh my God! It's just like it's jumped.
I get the text message. Time. I get an email and then I'll get a text message like when it comes out. Because First National Bank of Central Texas. So when it comes out, I get a text message just like boom. And about a year ago. They did the thing where my contract had lapsed, but I missed that email. So all of a sudden my bill went from one price to like 3 times as much, and I was like, am I like running a server farm or something out of my house that I don't know about? What's going on?
Yeah. It's the cold weather's definitely spiked my bill a bit.
You used to do that though when you had those children. I mean, when you had a server farm or whatever it was.
Server farm.
Yeah. All right, so let's kind of the stories of today. Phillip Rivers retired. That's a national story. We kind of discussed that. Drew Brees might be next. We don't know. Maybe he's going to take another shot somewhere. I mentioned the Dennis Polian with Baylor. That's a staff edition. Dave Aranda is a part of the show tomorrow. The inauguration today. Also, Baylor women tonight play against Oklahoma State. Where are a couple of the other ones that we had?
The Polian.
Yeah, well, I mentioned Dennis Polian and now be part of the Baylor staff. That was a position. It was interesting because these guys come on staff and leave, and of course there's been some that have been left on their own or have been asked to leave based on the business that it is. And there was this infatuation with Austin Thomas. He was here for less than a year, wasn't he? Is that right?
Yeah, it's because people love recruiting, and that's where a big part of the college football fan base comes from is those diehards who follow recruiting. And a lot of those people are on SicEm365.com. And what often happens, whether it's SicEm365 or some other Baylor website or Orange Bloods or Sooner Scoop or whatever, there's certain figures, especially in recruiting, that people just like go gaga. I mean, think about the way James Blanchard was treated before he left for Carolina.
Yeah.
Like, you would have thought that he did more than Matt Rule did, like, depending on what some people posted. And he did a lot, and he had a hand in, success, but I just think sometimes we blow up these guys, in a certain way to make them out to be like rock stars, and Austin Thomas isn't here anymore. You know what I mean? So you got to be careful with expectations and getting too gaga over certain guys because of their position or because of, maybe even what they did elsewhere. Not to say don't get excited about new guys, but with recruiting and the behind-the-scenes personnel stuff, I think we as college football fans, sometimes get a little bit too gaga over the behind-the-scenes guys.
It's huge. These staffs are huge.
Yeah.
It all started with Alabama. Maybe they didn't start it, but, they got like 40 analysts in Texas, of course. Yeah. But Baylor's staff, it's growing.
I don't think it's fair to get that, not to say that you shouldn't get excited, but to get that excited and put the expectations on the guy who's just gotten here.
Right.
Like, let him do his job first.
Yeah.
I like to call it the first round draft pick jersey rule. Like, yes, you can get super excited when your team takes the third guy in the draft, but why don't you wait for him to win a few games before you run out and get his jersey so you don't have a Jamarcus Russell jersey hanging in your closet?
Yeah, and he's clearly good at what he does. I mean, that's why LSU wanted him back. Yeah, who would want the Jamarcus Russell jerseys in your closet?
Just wait and see what they do.
I mean, he's obviously good at what he does. Why LSU has him back in the fold, and I'm sure if he had stuck around in Waco long enough, he would have had a bigger impact. But he had the 1 year. Best I can tell, did well for what he was supposed to be doing. I mean, that's the thing, is I don't even really know. Like, I don't know all the ins and outs of what he actually did or did not do. So it's hard for me on the outside to have too much of an opinion on what a loss it is. But they filled that spot now. And we'll hope that Polian, is the right guy for the job. Dave Aranda seems to have been very calculated in who he's chosen to bring into the fold. And they seem to be off to a pretty good start chemistry-wise, so hopefully that continues.
Well, and if you didn't hear Chancey Stuckey yesterday,
he's great,
it got a huge amount of, and Craig then wrote a column about it, an article about it. I mean, that's gotten massive response on SicEm365.com in the premium section. We'll have Eric Mateos next. The other quick story, we got to go, unless you have something real quick to add. George Springer signed with Toronto, 6 years, $150 million, and Michael Brantley re-signs with the Astros on a 2-year, $32 million deal.
First piece of good Houston sports news in 2 months, basically.
It's been a while. All right, Eric Mateos, Baylor offensive line coach. He's next, and we've got some stuff to discuss with him on SicEm365 Radio.
From the first workout to the last practice, sports is an incredible and rewarding challenge. Hi, this is Dan Ingham with the First National Bank of Central Texas, and we're proud to support each athlete, every parent, and our educators. From families, small businesses, to the biggest industry, we're here to help. With remarkable products like our free First mobile app, we've got banking ideas that fuel big dreams. That's the First National Bank of Central Texas. Familiar faces making local decisions.
Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Fall in love with a new vehicle for less at Allen Samuels with incredible deals like a 2021 Jeep Cherokee Latitude Plus or Lux with $6,750 in values, or a 2021 Jeep Grand Cherokee Laredo for $4,250 in values. There's a reason why Jeep has so many accolades. So come see for yourself and save at AllenSamuels.com. It's the Start Something New sales event at Allen Samuels, your friend in the car business. AllenSamuelsDCJ.com.
How did Edward Jones become one of the biggest financial service companies in the world? By not acting that way. Financial strategies, one-on-one advice, it's a big difference. And that's why Brad Wilson, your Edward Jones financial advisor, makes sense of investing. Experience the difference for yourself. Brad Wilson, 250 Sharon Drive in Woodway, 254-776-4337. Edward Jones, member SIPC.
It's a new year. Time to fire up the grill, heat up the oven, get that deep fryer going to enjoy the top quality products at Waco Custom Marketplace. Hi, this is David Smoak, including what you'll need to watch the NFL playoffs and Super Bowl. Ribs, sauces, links, brisket, chicken wings, bags of various snacks, and customized appetizer trays. Don't forget to order something now for the perfect home-cooked Valentine's Day dinner, which is closer than you think, including combo packs with ribeyes, fillets, and lobster tails. Live crawfish season is just around the corner. Absolutely the right time to fire up the grill, heat up the oven, get that deep fryer going to enjoy the top quality products at Waco Custom Marketplace. Waco Custom Marketplace, your family meat market, butcher shop and bakery with everything baked fresh with old-fashioned farmers market atmosphere. Serving Waco restaurants and families since 1940. Your one-stop shop for beef, pork, poultry, and seafood needs. Waco Custom Marketplace, 425 Lake Air Drive or WacoCustomMarketplace.com.
Riverbend Liquor and Wine has their easy-to-access drive-thru open and convenient and clean in-store location on the corner of Lakeshore Drive and North 19th Street in Waco. Riverbend Liquor has the best and most extensive variety of craft beer selections in Waco, and Balcones whiskey, including single malt, pot still, baby blue, rye, brimstone, and the all-new Lineage in stock. Riverbend Liquor and Wine, family-owned and operated, and a hidden gem in Waco on Lakeshore Drive at 19th Street. And find out more on Facebook and Instagram.
Parenting is full of surprises.
You never know what to expect.
So after our son was born, I called my Texas Farm Bureau insurance agent to set up a life insurance policy in case something happened to me.
Sawyer is now 2.
And we'll soon have a sister. There's no one else I would trust with protecting my family.
Stop by and see our agents at one of our 3 McLennan County locations.
Coverage and discounts are subject to qualifications and policy terms and may vary by situation.
Welcome back to SicEm365 Radio.
This segment on Baylor Athletics on SicEm365 Radio is brought to you by Richard Carr Buick GMC Cadillac, located at the Imperial Drive exit off Loop 340 in Waco. Proud supporters of all Baylor Athletics.
A couple of notes about tomorrow's show. We await Eric Mateos here on SicEm365.com. Chrislyn Carr, who's now transferred and is a part of the Baylor women's basketball team. She's sitting out this semester from Texas Tech, will join us. Also, we'll hear from Richard Bartell. You heard Chancey Stuckey bring him up. He was at a coffee shop in Waco. Played with him for a year with the Cardinals. Sees him over in the corner based on his body movement. So Siri called Richard Bartell. He's right there. And I spoke with Richard earlier today. And he's going to join us tomorrow. Also, a little bit about the NFL. He's with the Cowboys for a short stint. But he'll join us tomorrow as well, along with some of our regular guests as well. That Baylor women's game is tonight, 6:30 against Oklahoma State, ESPN+. Also, the game with Kansas, it was scheduled for, what was it, Paul? February 3rd is now a game that will play on February the 4th. So that is a game on the women's basketball schedule that was pushed back. Phillip Rivers, by the way, in his goodbye, and we wait for Eric Mateos. Here's some of the things that he said. I appreciate, this is a statement on his retirement, I appreciate the opposing defenses making it challenging physically and mentally every week. I also enjoyed the banter. I appreciate the referees for putting up with all my fussing. I think I was right most of the time, dadgummit. Thanks to the fans in San Diego, around the nation that both cheered and booed. He's got a sense of humor here. Talks about his teammates. And then also, he mentioned 16 years. He played 1 year with Indianapolis, of course, this year, and they were pretty good. I thought there was a point this year where the Colts looked like they turned the corner and might be kind of dangerous as a playoff team. It just never materialized that way, but I thought they were pretty good.
Well, it made up for, like Jacoby Brissett last year looked like for a time period he could be the guy for the future, and then it quickly became apparent that he was not the guy for the future, and so they kind of went from like, hey, we got somebody, to, oh no, we need more help, and so Phillip Rivers is a nice stopgap. You can't get much better than that. As far as now making the transition into going and finding, hopefully your new Andrew Luck that will play for, longer, but how different do you think, and what ifs we could do that with anything in the world for years and years and years and never know, but how different do you think things would have turned out if Eli Manning sticks with the Chargers and Phillip Rivers is in New York with the Giants as they were originally selected before that trade happened? Because Eli obviously forced that trade, said he didn't want to play for San Diego, so the Giants pick Rivers at 4 and then make the trade, but Eli won 2 rings, Rivers never got there. But that would have been interesting. That would have definitely was something that changed the course of the NFL.
Yeah, it certainly did. And look, what happens if the Chargers, for one, they had the first pick that year because Drew Brees got hurt, and they didn't have him. And what if the Chargers, say, oh, Drew Brees is fine. And I know they played together for a year.
Yeah, then Rivers doesn't end up, pushing Brees out for all intents and purposes, and then he goes to New Orleans, wins a Super Bowl. So just very interesting that that one draft day trade resulted in Eli going and winning 2 Super Bowls for the Giants, or dethroning the Patriots for at least a couple of years there when they would have had 2 more Super Bowl titles. And then obviously Rivers had a good career, but yeah, I mean a lot of things would have been different had that trade not happened.
We are now joined by Baylor offensive line coach Eric Mateos. He spent time with Jeff Grimes at Brigham Young. He joins us now live on SicEm365 Radio. And how, I don't even want to get into this, but we have to with you. And I had time with Brady Christensen, so I've got some good stuff on you. But can you tell me who Monty Python was in your life at one point?
Monty Python was one of my ball pythons that I had in Utah.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Eric, what you don't realize is he's deathly afraid of snakes.
I'm petrified.
So that's why he brings that up first.
But I know the good news is they're not here, right?
No, I actually had two of them. So I had Monty Python and Julius Squeezer. and when I got engaged, I also made the commitment to find them new homes.
Okay, that's good. Then Dave Aranda made the right choice along with Coach Grimes and many others as well. I'm always curious about when people have snakes like that. Are those in aquariums? I mean, you don't let them roam around. What are they called?
Terrarium.
Whatever they're called, the glass thing. You don't let them roam around at night, like all of a sudden, like a fur coat or something like that.
No, they are in a very secure cage. Now, I can't speak for all reptile owners because I know some people have different preferences. But my preference was to keep them in their cages, give them a nice, safe home, and get them out and interact with them every other day just so they didn't bite me.
That's good.
That's a good plan.
That's a smart thing to do. Brady Christensen told me he came to Brigham Young, and I know Coach Pugh was there for a year before you were with Jeff Grimes, but he started out as a 2-star offensive lineman, and now he's a consensus All-American and maybe a first-round pick. What about the growth you see in him and also then what you hope to transfer to what you can do with Baylor's offensive line?
You know, Brady's just an example of being coachable. I mean, I think a lot. You know, I've had a conversation with every single organization in the NFL about him, and I think that's the number one thing is being coachable. And I think that's a big responsibility to a college athlete. I think the guys that you see that are able to make the jump from a 2-star athlete to an NFL top 100 draft pick. I mean, I think that's the common denominator is development and being coachable. And I think when college athletes do that, they open doors for themselves that they didn't even know existed. And so how that translates here, I think it's a message that I think all athletes want to see proof of concept, right? You proof of concept is big in business. And I think they want to see that from their coaches. You know, is what you're going to teach me, is what you're going to coach me on, is that going to help me get my game to a new level? And I think what we've established at BYU the last couple of years and where we've been able to take a couple of players that were maybe not as big of recruits and make them NFL prospects, you know, Chandon Herring's another one. I think the proof is that the system works.
Eric, obviously, Baylor, had some struggles last year on the offensive line. A lot of that had to do with no spring and a new system and everything coming in. What have you seen from the group of guys that you have, and what have you learned so far about those guys?
Eagerness in their faces, bright eyes, smiles. I think that when you meet these guys right now, they feel the fresh start that they're able to have with the new year. New coaches, new opportunities, new offense. And so far, the impression I've gotten is they're very eager. You can tell that they're walking a little taller, shoulders are back, you know, they're smiling under those masks. So that's one of the first things I noticed. And since I've been able to talk to everybody, you know, when I got the job, I talked to everybody on the phone and I just kind of touched base. And then now that I've been here for a couple of days and getting to know them, I can see that they want to be good. And that's hurdle number one always, is you have to want to be good personally, and then you have to want to be good as a unit. And if you have that, that's something to work with.
Eric, what brought you to Waco? What was the interest on your part, and just kind of break down, you know, the conversations you had that eventually led you to being a member of the Baylor staff?
Well, I think there's so many factors that are at play here that are good for me and my wife. Obviously, familiarity with Coach Aranda, having worked with him for a year. I have familiarity with Dennis Johnson, we're good friends. Coach Grimes, competed against Ron Roberts. Just a lot of connections in the staff. I have a lot of really good friends that are close to the area. My wife has family that lives in Dallas. Some of my best friends in the whole world live in Austin and Houston. So I think for a first move for a married couple, I think there's a lot of elements just as far as people that were made it really appealing. And then obviously the football part is just some of the best coaches in the country. Dave Aranda, Jeff Grimes. It goes without saying. There's two of the best football minds in America. Why would you not want to work with them? So that kind of speaks for itself.
Yeah, that's kind of what we've been told as well. Obviously, Dave Aranda joins us tomorrow. We've gotten to know him a little bit, not quite as much as we want, but as much as we can. He's given us a lot of time over the last year. Brady Christensen told me you will not find a more passionate guy. What does that mean?
I think it just means that I take pride in what I do in my interactions with my players. I think you have to fully invest. If you want to be good at anything or be great at anything, you have to fully invest. You got to invest in the culture you're in. You got to invest in the town you're in, the program you're in, the logo that you're wearing. If you want to make that place great and make your players great, you just have to go all in. That's the only way I know how to do anything, is to just put my heart and soul in every piece of my job and really give everything I got to my guys. And that I think that comes out, that I am passionate about the game, and I'm even more passionate about the players. So I think that just comes out with the kind of mentality I have coaching.
So what is the emotional ride of the last year been like for you when you throw in an unbelievable season for BYU, you're married, you're going on your honeymoon, and then you're moving after all that stuff?
What's the emotional ride like?
Yeah.
Well, it's just, I've just been really trying to take everything with a lot of humility and gratitude, because I know that this plan for me that God has been an exciting one. It's been one that I've never expected especially over the last couple of years. I wasn't retained at Texas State when Coach Spavital got hired. I wasn't retained to coach the O-line, and from that point forward, though, I really feel like the plan for me was to go to BYU to meet my wife in Salt Lake and to coach those guys, and then to be here back close to family and with Jeff and with Dave. And so I've just been really grateful for all the opportunities and good moments I've had, because we all remember the years that it wasn't that great, and so I've had those years too. So I've just really tried to soak it in.
Eric, so right now you're obviously, getting to know guys, building relationships, doing that, taking a look at the football side as well. On the football side, when it comes to your linemen, like, where do you sort of begin as a coach? What is your process with this new group of linemen?
Well, I think the first thing is you have to be yourself, be truthful, but also convey to them that they have a clean slate with you, and to not go into it with any kind of preconceived notions, and kind of give them the benefit of the doubt that, right now you can earn whatever you want to earn with me as your coach. And I think that's the starting point. But then I think the message that I always kind of start this process with is that we will always go as far as the individual players in the unit are willing to go. And because in college football, it's been proven time and time again, you don't need 5 5-stars, and you don't need 5 top 3-round picks to be a great offensive line in college. And I'm not saying we do or don't have that. But what I do know is that if you don't want to be great and you don't think you're going to be great, then you're never going to be great. So that's where we're going to start.
You mentioned that you've had conversations once you took the job, and do they want to be good? Or you just mentioned, do they want to be great? How do you know what is talk and what is real?
Well, you don't know over the phone. But you know once you see the actions, and once you see how guys carry themselves, their eagerness to learn, their body language. Are they here with enthusiasm? When I meet them, when I look in the eyes, are they enthusiastic about it, or are they just saying, "Oh, here's my coach, just the guy that's going to be on my rear"? So But I think you can tell right away once you get around guys. Obviously on the phone you can't tell. And again, old adage, actions speak volumes.
Eric Mateos, Baylor offensive line coach, with us on SicEm365 Radio. Paul Catalina, David, and Craig Smoak.
Did you have to get good at not swearing when you're at BYU?
Oh.
What's that?
Did you have to get good at not swearing during practice?
Oh yeah, of course, absolutely. And I wouldn't say that I'm a huge swearer to begin with, but that was one of my New Year's resolutions when I got to BYU, and obviously once I started dating my now wife, my swearing went down a lot because she doesn't put up with it. So, but no, I haven't had a whole lot of issues with that.
Eric, I know you pointed out some of the previous relationships that you have with members of this staff, like Dave Aranda, Coach Grimes, et cetera. As far as the new guys, I know you're just getting back from the honeymoon and everything, but as far as, getting acclimated, what's it been like to interact with some of the newer members of the staff that maybe you didn't know? Do you feel like a chemistry is already starting to kind of build up?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, we just were locked in there for 5 hours this afternoon, going over formations, shifts, and motions, and making sure our playbook looks like the way we want it to look. And I feel like we have a good chemistry. We already have a lot of humility in the room, and a lot of guys with good ideas, but also guys that are open to other ideas. And that's what Coach Grimes has always preached as the offensive coordinator, is that I'm not the one with all the answers, and us as a room, that we need to be the best offensive staff in the country. Not necessarily each guy be their own best running back coach, best O-line coach, anything like that. We need to be the best offensive staff for our players, and that's the most important thing, and I feel like that's going to come along.
I had somebody tell me that your personality with Jeff Grimes might be like oil and water, and it wasn't a negative comment. It's just two different types of personalities. If that's true, who's oil and who is water?
I would say that I'm a little bit more like water, because I feel like I can get it, blend in anywhere. I feel a little bit kind of like I've called myself a chameleon before, but not in a bad way, but in a way that, anywhere I've ever been and any spot I've ever been in, I feel like I can adapt well and I get along with all kinds of people. I mean, I've lived in Arkansas now, Central Texas, Louisiana, Utah, Kansas, South Florida. I'm originally from Miami, so I just feel like I can kind of blend in anywhere. And Grimey's kind of, he's cut from a different cloth. He's an old school Texas guy. Hardworking, a little bit meaner, a little bit tougher. And I might just be a little bit more new age,
You mentioned where you've been around. Your parents are refugees from Cuba, correct?
Yeah, my dad. Yes.
Okay, so you've understood that part of the world. Also, you've lived in the glitz of Miami and then the heartlands of Missouri. You went to Southwest Baptist University. I guess that's in Arkansas. Is that correct?
No, Southwest Baptist in Missouri.
In Missouri, I'm sorry. You're from Overland Park, Kansas. So you've kind of got a mixture of kind of, knowing different parts of this, not only this country, but the world.
Yeah, and that's one of the things I think God has blessed me with in my life, is just the ability to relate with people of all different backgrounds and races and ethnicities and sociological area. I mean, just all the above. And I've been so lucky to have so many great friends from so many different backgrounds. And I think it's the thing that one of the things I love the most about being a coach is you walk in that room and everybody's got a different looking body type and different looking skin, but then once we get on the grass and we lace up, everybody's wearing the same colors, and I think that's one of the things I love the most about coaching.
Have the last few weeks been a blur in a way, because of, Paul kind of mentioned this, and you have as well, of all that's been on your plate?
I wouldn't say it's been a blur. I've been trying to stay focused on the things at hand. I would say the biggest blur was me really, really beating my wife in putt-putt in the Keys. That was the biggest blur of the last week, just because it was so easy and it went by so fast.
Wait a minute. Beating her went by, it was so easy and by so fast in putt-putt?
Yeah. So one of our hobbies is to play mini golf in different places that we visit. And I believe I'm undefeated now, and the streak was extended while we were in the Keys.
I mean, you shouldn't taunt too much. You might find your way to a new hobby, Eric.
Yeah. For some reason, I feel like she's standing next to him and he's giving her the ultimate troll job right now. But
well, I'm just going to assume that she's somehow going to get a hold of this. And this is all a mind game for a future competition.
Yeah. I kind of suspect it's
like Tiger and Phil at the Masters. We just saw it on the documentary where he hit the three, like Phil hit the longest drive he'd ever hit.
Just drilled one on 13. Yeah,
yeah. Tiger outdrove him by 50 yards with a 3-wood.
Yeah,
those kind of things.
Those kind of things. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm playing the long game right now.
Eric, obviously Craig brought this up about how one of the reasons you're here is because there were things that needed to get better. That doesn't mean anything about those who were here before, but you still have some of the same players who were here. Your thoughts about how long does it take and how critical would a normal offseason be? Because that's another thing that worked against them and a lot of people last year. There was no spring drill, so to speak. How critical would that be for you to have that this spring?
I mean, it's absolutely critical, especially when you start talking about chemistry. And I think there's a lot that goes into creating a great O-line, but I think the two biggest things is this. You don't need 10 guys that light a fire in your room. You need one or two. So one or two guys needs to have a spark, and they need to get us going on a daily basis. They need to be the ones that set the tone, the guys that are straining a little bit harder than everybody else, the guys that might be doing a little bit extra shoving and pushing at the end of a rep. So you need one or two guys that are doing that to set the tone for your room, and then you need chemistry. And so when you start talking about off-season, chemistry is important. But here's the thing is it's not just off-season. Once you get in the season, you have to keep building chemistry and keep building depth. Over the last 2 years at BYU, we've probably put on the field, I would say, close to 30 different O-line combinations over the last 2 seasons. I bet if you went and charted it, I bet it's 30 different combinations of 5 guys. And you can never stop building chemistry. You can never stop building depth. So it's going to start here in the offseason, but it's got to keep going all the way to the very end.
Can you imagine if you would have been George DeLeon in 2017 when he arrived? They had 6 scholarship offensive linemen the first year Matt Rule arrived at Baylor.
Yeah, I don't even understand how that happened, and I guess I didn't even know that happened. But no, I cannot imagine being in those shoes. When I got to Texas State, I think we were just maybe at 10 or maybe 9 or 10. And that was rough, so I can't even imagine.
Yeah, they went through spring with 6 scholarship guys and then had to wait for the freshmen to come in that summer to give them some depth. It was pretty crazy.
Story. Eric, thank you for being a part of the show. Welcome to Waco. Thanks for your time, and thanks for leaving the Snakes in Utah. We appreciate that.
Yeah, thank you, gentlemen. Well, come late July and August, we'll find some rattlers out here, too.
Oh, that's great.
We'll have to get
Just call me. I'll be there. There's a place called Oglesby, which is just south, right, Paul, southwest of Waco. They have the Oglesby Rattlesnake Roundup. We bring them in the studio with the snakes, and so we will be in touch.
All right. Looking forward to it. Thanks, gentlemen.
All right. Thank you. That's Eric Mateos, offensive line coach. Fun to have him on. Appreciate him. Brady Christensen, I know we got the top 5 with Paul. Brady Christensen could not say enough about him, about what he meant. Jeff Grimes, obviously, for 3 years there, and what he meant as far as his development. That's a word that we've heard since the Dave Aranda changes with coaches. Development, quarterback, development, offensive line, development, whoever, right? Mm-hmm. And so that's a word that we've heard quite a bit, and thanks to Eric Mateos for being a part of the show. All right, Paul?
All right, the top 5 at 5:55. All right, the first, we could double dip today if we have time, guys, because I did kind of a yin and yang thing here. But the 5 bad choices. Tennessee is in a bad way with their athletic department, but their football team is really just a mess, and it's been a mess. It's probably the worst mess of all the messes of the formerly great programs at Tennessee. I mean, I can't. Is there one worse that you can think of the formerly greats?
That's got a worse situation
right now. You're using the word
great
in Tennessee?
I mean, they won a national title in 1998.
I know, but I never thought of. They're good. I never thought of them. They're kind of a. I don't know if they have a jacket at Augusta National.
Okay.
But they are, they're kind of in that blue blood. I don't know. Okay.
But I mean,
it's been a while.
A program with
They got
assets.
6 national titles, which is one less than Oklahoma and 1 or 2 more
Johnny
than Texas.
Majors, or it was not Johnny Majors, it was the other guy. They named a stadium after him. Was it Neyland? Neyland, yeah.
So, I mean, of that, they're a mess.
Okay.
So, Jeremy Pruitt is out and fired for cause amid, an NCAA investigation that's coming.
That he's, by the way, I'm sorry to interrupt, but that's going to be fascinating because he's going to pull the old
Saban rehab.
No. Well, he'll probably do that. He probably will do that. That's what Bill O'Brien's doing now. But he's going to go the David Beatty route and is going to have some legal repercussions heading Tennessee's way. So what they did by making this move, because basically they're just trying to get out of it financially, is they're now going to have to open up their books most likely because of this lawsuit. So just schools, like, be careful what you wish for, because it's not as simple as like, oh, well, we need to get rid of this guy, let's get rid of him, because there's more that could be headed your way, and that looks like that's going to be the situation with Tennessee.
All right, so more than likely, because now Philip Fulmer's out and they don't have an athletic director, they're going to make a bad choice because they've done nothing but make bad choices since Philip Fulmer retired, or they kind of pushed him out the first time. So here's 5 bad choices Tennessee's head coach. Number 5, Kevin Steele,
who might end up being Tennessee's
who is the interim head coach right now.
Yeah.
And he might wind up being...
He's been an interim twice for 2 SEC teams in the last month.
Yes. Number 4, Jeff Fisher. Jeff Fisher has thrown his name out there for this job, and he's not recruited. I don't like that at all. I mean,
Yeah. I'm not a big Jeff Fisher fan. I don't have a real valid reason for why. I don't know exactly why.
There was something about him that he did.
I just never was a big fan of the guy.
Can't remember what it was.
There's a story about him about how he kind of ran things in Tennessee for a while.
Yeah, I don't know.
When I've seen it, like Herm Edwards was hired at Arizona State, I thought that was a bad move, and not because he's been a guest on the show and he's incredible. We like him. He's done a hell of a job at Arizona State. He's done a really nice job, so I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. Jeff Fisher's not Herm Edwards. All right, number 3.
No, okay.
Tom Herman. And look, and this is not necessarily about Tom Herman.
From UT to UT.
But, I just think that this is not a situation that he needs to get himself in long term. Like, if he wants to rehabilitate, hey, it didn't work out at Texas, it's got to be somewhere else. He does not need to go to Tennessee, which is an absolute dumpster fire right now.
No, I don't think he would handle that situation all that well. I think even with, Mack Rhoades, he says that Matt Rule was like his number 1 guy, but, apparently they might have at least talked to Herman's people or were gauged in how interested he might be back during that time. And it was clear that he was going to Texas or he was going to end up at LSU, but he's very immature. He's a very immature grown man, and the kind of stunts that he was pulling in Austin, eventually, as much as the losses led to him getting the boot, the middle finger on Longhorn Network during signing day, and just dumb stuff like that. So I think when you got a program with as many problems as they have, he needs to take the route of a lot of other coaches who get the boot, go away for a year, go join Saban's staff or whatever, and get that rehab treatment, go join the Clemson, something, and mature a little bit and learn a little bit and figure out where you went wrong and then get back in the mix. But jumping straight into Tennessee with what they got going on, that would be just a total disaster.
All right, number 2, Kevin Steele. Yeah, he's on here twice. It's a bad idea.
See,
it's that bad of an idea.
I'm glad, because I wanted to ask this question. Do people outside of Waco and the Baylor fan base view him the same way people in the Baylor fan base and Waco view him?
No, they don't, because they have not had that experience of UNLV and a cluster blank, dumpster fire. And, as an assistant coach, as a coordinator, as a recruiting person, he was fantastic at some of the best blue blood programs in the country. He has won national titles. He's been places where that team has been successful, and he's helped get them maybe to another level, but he will always be known for what he did at Baylor, which was a complete disaster.
All right, number 1, and this is the one I think the Tennessee fans are going to go hot and heavy for, and it's Hugh Freeze. It's because he's from Tennessee. They think he'll be good there. But Hugh Freeze is at Liberty right now because he got in NCAA trouble and other trouble at Auburn. And if you fire a coach for NCAA trouble and then you bring in another one who had it recently, that's like getting rid of the Riddler and hiring the Penguin. I mean, what are you doing? It's the same thing.
No, they can't. They cannot afford. There's no way Tennessee can drop themselves into that grease.
Yeah. All right. Tomorrow we'll do the 5 good choices, provided they haven't.
We're giving Tennessee a lot of credit.
Yeah.
I mean,
In what way?
I mean, they're getting a lot. This is heavy duty
like
stuff.
2 days of top fives in a row.
Yeah, but I mean, like I felt like if I dragged them through the mud, I would at least give them some good idea. Unless you want to do it really fast now.
No. We'll wait for tomorrow. Yeah, I don't want. No, we're good.
Hugh Freeze will be interesting to see where he goes. You know, that almost led to a weird domino effect when I don't even remember what job it was that opened up, and he got rumored for it, and then there was already talk of like, well, Riles will slide into the Liberty job because of Ian and all of that stuff. But when Freeze does leave Liberty and how he ends up leaving Liberty, I am interested to see. I'm interested to see who's going to make that move because somebody will. There's no doubt. But at the same time, I don't think everybody can make that move. I think there's certain programs that you can't touch Hugh Freeze. So
Tennessee's one of them right now.
Yeah, and they're one of them. And it was so disgusting to see how many of these programs who just recently opened up who probably bashed all over Baylor years ago or bashed on whichever team's been, in the bad headlines. And then they turn right around their Twitter profile like 2 days later. They're begging for Hugh Freeze to be the head. The talking out of both sides is just so ridiculous.
Tennessee, there were, of those 6 titles, the one with Phil Fulmer was legitimate. The one in 1951 was the AP UPI with Robert Nayland.
That 67 one does not count.
That's Litkin House. I don't even know.
Actually, three of theirs should not even count.
Yeah, so they have 3, maybe 3 national titles, but it's been a while.
Actually,
they get a lot of credit for being a power in football, and yet
they really should have 2 real national titles.
You know the last time they won a conference title? Now, speaking for someone who loves the team that hasn't had one since 1999, 1998 they won the national title.
Yeah, believe me, I know it all too well.
If those aren't like AP or USA Today or whatever type of polls, like those old, like we were number 1 in the Sagarin in 1970, BS, you are not a national champion.
The New York Times.
And there's nobody that pumps
Shakespeare.
up.
If I ever see Dustin Colquitt in person, he was on the punter, who got a fake, like a faux roughing the punter penalty. I'll shove him over and say, that's what it's like to be shoved.
All right. Thanks to Mack Rhoades. Thanks to King McClure, Brady Christensen, Baylor, Brigham Young offensive tackle, John McClain, John Machota, Eric Mateos. Thank you very much. Tomorrow, many things to get to. Craig, anything else to close it out? We got to go. We're up against it.
No, I guess that's it.
Armstrong Sims, Rob Solon, and Jack McKenzie for Paul Catalina. Thank you to our great sponsors, all of them, every one of them. Tomorrow, back at it at 11 o'clock with Drake and J.D. We'll be back tomorrow at 3. I'm David Smoak. Thank you for listening whenever you do, however long it might be, on SicEm365 Radio. Stepping into the boots of a U.S. Army officer can add confidence and leadership skills to your son or daughter's career path. See all the things they can achieve in our boots at GoArmy.com. U.S. Army Waco Recruiting Company, 254-598-8131 or 254-776-1543.
Born in Waco, Brotherwell Brewing exists to serve the Central Texas community with locally crafted beer of the highest quality. They want to bring Central Texas closer to the brewing experience so everyone can enjoy well-made beer as much as they do. For 2.5 years, they've been bringing high-quality beer to Central Texas at their location on Bridge Street in East Waco. And this football season, you need to stop by on game day for curbside pickup or stop by their tent next to Sic'em365 at Brazos Parking for your pregame refreshment. Brotherwell Brewing believes in community and bringing people together to enjoy products made in their community. So for your game day, whether it's a tailgate or at home, stop by Brotherwell Brewing for high-quality craft beer made right here in Central Texas, 400 East Bridge Street, and check them out online at brotherwell.com.
Ideal MRI is a small family business right here in Central Texas. We're open to support you while lowering the cost of healthcare bills. When you need an MRI, ask your doctor for an Ideal MRI. Visit us at idealmri.com or call us at 833-IDEAL-MRI.
Texas Farm Bureau Insurance has been proudly serving Texans across the state for over 60 years. Call 254-772-8090 to find an agent who will provide a free review of your auto, home, and life coverage.